Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello there.
James Farley.
Hello.
And Sean Bell.
Hey up, chaps, how's it going? Oh, I don't like shooting games, and I can't decide on which way to lean.
Unfortunately, Sean can't be here. That was an impression that I did of him. I think was quite bang on. But Sean's not here. He's ill.
That was worse than normal, Dave. It was really bad. That one was.
Was it? Why?
I don't know. It just
Fuck
sounded.
You. Why are you reviewing my? Who gives you the authority to review my impressions?
Sometimes you do quite good ones, and that wasn't though. That was a bad one.
Okay, all right. Let's see yours.
No, I don't claim to be able to do impressions of Sean.
If you're going to step up to me, you better have something to back it up. Let's see your Sean Bell impression.
I don't want to. I'm embarrassed now.
Just do it.
Hello, chaps.
That's all right, actually.
Is it? Matt's only saying that because he doesn't want to do one. We would like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers who went full Nels. It's Alan M. Nash, Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Anthony Oakenson, and we've got a new one. It's Tom S. Tom S is the boy. He went full Nels. Seriously, thank you so much, not only for supporting us this month by going full Nels, but those of you that went throughout the year, we really, really do appreciate it, and it helps the show tick by. It's certainly going to be improving Matt's streams based on the ridiculous amount of texts we've had over Black Friday. Are you all set now, Matt? Are you happy with your purchases?
Well, I think most of it's coming this week, so I'm very excited to build my first PC in like 20 years.
So James, can you imagine what his stream on Sunday is going to be like?
Yeah.
It's going to be exactly the same.
Smoke machine, is it?
Yeah, because it's
so money well spent then.
I'm going to predict there's going to be lots of technical problems. Like, because it'll be like an all new setup, and there'll be a load of things that will go wrong. It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
I've got images of a stage though, and various different camera angles and all that sort of stuff.
Basically, you're not really going to notice at home. I've already got the new lights. The new lights have made the same webcam look like a totally different camera, so I'm well impressed with the lights. But the PC itself is no one's going to really see that.
For the 12 listeners, for the 12 viewers you get, you can support us on Patreon if you go to patreon.com/TCGS. I think that's right. I'm doing that from memory. Is that right, Matt?
That's the website, yeah.
They got the .com. They got the .com. Thank God. Should we get straight into feedback?
We should talk about Res. We're doing Res in 2020.
Oh, right, yeah, because this was strange, because, I mean, I was up in my streaming game this week. I did 3 streams, and on one of them, someone said, do you know that the Res tickets go on sale tomorrow? Should I buy one? Are you going to be there? And I was like, do you know what? We haven't even spoken about it amongst the 4 of us, let alone... I wasn't aware that we'd made contact with the Resd team. But yeah, we're doing Resd again next year.
We are,
exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spoke.
Go on.
Yeah, so it's Saturday, 28th of March, 3 p.m. James, that's plenty of time for you to book in a holiday. 3 p.m. on a Saturday, 28th of March, 2020. So get it in your calendars now. It should be a good one.
Resd is a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's more likely to be that we're going to be in a little separate room, because that's the way that expo is usually set up. So it'll be a nice intimate gig. And we'd love to see you there. Genuinely, we'd really love to see you there.
Hang on. What is the date? Can you tell me the dates again?
It's
no.
Well, have you got anything booked in March?
That's what I'm just checking.
Saturday, the 28th of March.
Right, let's have a look.
There we go.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's in the You've already put it in the calendar. Well done, Matt. It's already there. I was going to put it in.
I've put it in our share calendar, yeah.
Yeah, you put it in the share calendar. Well done.
Yeah, we got. Well, why do people call me the admin guy? So yeah, please come along. Tickets are available now. You just need a standard day ticket to get in and come see us. Yeah, we really want to see you there. We'll have a lot of fun together, won't we? There'll be a drink.
Definitely. Yeah,
we'll have drinks afterwards. You can have selfies with James.
Cuddles.
With cuddles. Bring things for him to sign, and yeah, it'll be a bloody good time. So yeah, and the other thing we should really talk about, actually, is that next week's show is quite a big one, isn't it, Matt?
Oh, it's a big year, right?
It's the start of our GOTY celebrations.
GOTY season is upon us.
It really is. It's the draft next week, and
I'm really bothered
I think
about
it's what
I said I'm really bothered about it.
Go on, why?
Well, no, because I've said before, I'm really struggling to find anything that I feel really excited about.
James.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a list at the moment of about 6 things, and that's all I can manage. And it's like, and there's only 2 of them on the list that I feel like actually excited about. The rest are just like, yeah, they were good. They were good. I just feel like this year has been a year of a lot of like good games, but not like absolutely amazing things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can speak passionately about good games. Not everything has to be a breath in the wild, does it?
No,
breath in the wild. Yeah, not everything has to be breath in the wild.
Breath in the wild. So we're making a rule change next week, and we sort of discussed this on the Patreon show, and no one kicked off about it. So we're going to see that as a green light to go ahead with it. We've decided that the way this is going to work this next week. We are going to nominate our usual 4 games each, right? That's in the bag. Nothing's changing
we should
with
explain the process of new listeners as well.
Really? Have we got any?
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't on for the big part of the year, so okay. Right, okay, so if you've not heard one of our Gotti shows, definitely go back and listen to one. The way it works, we nominate 4 games each. They all go into a hat. We draw them out one by one to face off against each other, and it's like the FA Cup, but for games released in 2019, unless you listened to one 2 years ago when a game was nominated, not in that year. But
I have got a question about this, because one of the listeners was asked this question. I think it'd be worth talking about now. What about stuff that was released after the draft last year?
Yeah, no, that counts.
Okay.
We discussed that last year.
So we could have Greece, for example, like that.
Greece was pointed out. Yes, that can totally be nominated because
we've got 7 now.
Although that came out last year, it was after our draft, so that counts.
Actually, there's like a really old PC version that came out in 2016, so that does not count.
James, did you know about that?
I wasn't going to nominate it anyway, but Sean will be disappointed.
So each of us nominate 4 games. And usually what happens, we throw it out to our listeners and say, hey, listener's choice, you pick a game, then you vote. We take the top 4 nominated games from the listeners, and then you get to vote to see which one goes in the hat, and one of us loses a game. And that's, how the whole process starts. However, we've noticed like recently that those games go out pretty damn quickly because no one's played them and we haven't got anything to say about them.
Yeah, no one cares. No one's fighting for them. So, yeah.
So we thought this year we'll do something a little bit different. You will still get to decide what game goes in the hat, but you have to pick between one of our wild cards. So essentially, we're all nominating 5 games, 4 games that are definitely in, and then a wild card. We then take each person's wild card, put them on a Twitter poll, and you get to decide which game goes into the hat. Right, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but trust me, it isn't. If you vote for my game, then I'm immune from losing a game from the Gotti show, right? But I can still vote on which one gets the chop. And that's it. So if you nominate Sean's game, he's immune, and Matt and whatever. But the idea is there'll be 4 games to choose from. You choose who gets the extra game in the hat for the Gotti show. Does that make sense?
So then, so round 1, say your game wins, Dave. You'll have 5 games.
Yep.
And then
one of you 3 will have 3 games.
Has to argue which one of our 4 we have to lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Pretty much. So yeah, it's going to be fun next week. The draft. You really only got 6 games on your list, James.
At the moment, yeah.
So out of the 50 plus games you finished this year, only 6 you can really talk passionately.
The problem is. I mean, I was saying this I was talking to Matt about this earlier, and it's like the problem I've got is that I've played a lot of games this year. I've got like 60 or so, but the trouble is that a lot of them are old, and they're not stuff that I can include in this. So, that's a bit irritating.
I know which 2 that he's really going to push for as well. Well, one of them I won't mention, but the other one's Judgment, and that's not going to go. That's not going to go past first round, is it? Let's face it.
This is what I mean. I'm screwed this year. Like, more than usual. It's like...
Yeah, but whose fault is that?
What do you mean, whose fault is that? I can't help it if I like the games I like.
Play the games we like, James.
Play the games we like. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I can already see a few battles that I'm looking forward to for the Christmas show. It's not going to go well.
It is going to be a 7-hour show because I'm not going to back down.
I think you will.
Oh, I'm not going to.
No, I'm pretty sure you will.
I'm not gonna.
I'm very confident that you will.
I'm not going to.
We'll see.
I'm not going to.
I'm pretty sure you will.
No, I'm not going to.
Right, okay, should we get onto the feedback from last week's show? I'm assuming everyone loved it because it was an absolute banger last week.
Very little negative feedback, which is, unless it was like siphoned away and hidden away from my eyes, which is very possible. Let's kick off with Oliver Birch talking about Babbitt Is You, because you talked about that, didn't you, David? A quick one. If you want to laugh, play through a handful of levels, including some really tough ones with no help, then watch someone on YouTube walk through these same levels. The amount of times I've spent a good hour crafting the most complex, round-the-houses, Alan Turing-esque solution to a puzzle, only to see someone else fly through it with a far, far simpler solution in less than a minute, is both crushing and hilarious. That's what I loved and loathed about Baba. Cracking idea with a lot of freedom, but it's definitely a puzzle game for the masochists.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm sort of bouncing off it a little bit. I've played it some more this week, but it's to the point, I don't know. There's just something about that game that I find really irritating. I haven't clicked with it as much. What? Go on.
No, it's just funny. It's just like there's just something about it I just can't stand. It's just what is it?
Yeah.
Like what is it you don't like? You can't figure it out.
Have you played it?
I've not. No. It looked to me like a Sean Bell game, but I've not touched it.
No. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Sean Bell games are not bad though. He likes some bangers.
Oh, yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm not saying he's got bad taste, but it does look like the sort of game that he'd be well into. And yeah,
I mean, he was well into it, so it very much is a Sean Bell game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, as I said, like the golden rules were being broken for puzzle games. For me, I've got very specific gripes with certain puzzle games. The main one being, if you're going down the wrong avenue, you should definitely be told straight away. You should definitely be told straight away. Like, if it's a game.
But
yes,
like puzzle games are about sort of trial and error, aren't they? They're trying to work out. I mean, you may know systems.
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, Baba You is definitely a game that's about testing and trying out loads of things.
Yeah, so if it is about testing and trying out, make sure there's a way to. There is a way to reverse it. You press the rewind button, but you can go so far down a rabbit hole with an idea to find out that you'd fucked it really early on. It just feels like a massive waste of time. You know what I mean? And it's just...
I just see it as like, testing things out. No, it doesn't work. I thinking of a solution. No, that doesning work.
Have you played it?
No. Looks like Sean Bell
So
game.
why are you arguing with me over this?
I'm not. I'm just like playing a devil's advocate. playing Baba's advocate.
Well, you're not. It's not working for me. I don't know. It's just a feeling that I get. When I play puzzle games that I really like, something clicks in my head, and it's either the mechanics or the solutions that pop into my head, and it all feels like really exciting. Like it feels genuinely exciting when I play a good puzzle game, but I'm not getting that feedback from this. I'm getting more frustrated than anything else. Maybe that's sort of maybe it's just one of those where the game isn't for me, rather than it being a bad game. It's not hitting those sweet notes that I get from a good puzzle game. So unfortunately,
it's not hitting those sweet notes, is it?
It's not.
It's annoying when games don't hit those sweet notes.
Yeah, I love those sweet notes, boy.
Oh yeah. Next one.
that was weird.
Hedy Lamar, subject line, for David, not the unknown 3 to 5 people.
Yeah.
Dear computer fun show man.
What?
Since I returned from Holland 6 years ago, I see you have...
This is Cyber John. Is it Cyber John?
It is, yeah.
Just to let you know, he's been emailing me since the Play Radio days, and they're always interesting emails. I give him that. Go on.
I gave up after the first few sentences. Go on, Matt.
Since I returned from Holland 6 years ago, I see you have lost weight and had a child. I'm not making a link between these two incidents. Moreover, I want to ask if I should feel guilty about playing an old game, namely KOTOR. This is a question.
No.
Wait, so what was the comments on my weight and family about?
No idea. But he's not making a link.
No, you should not feel guilty about playing it. But I kind of really want to do a stream. I want to play KOTOR.
You should.
As a stream. That'd be
very
great.
good.
I'm going to carry on.
What can you play it on these days?
You play it on Xbox.
What, Xbox One?
Pretty certain, yeah, because it was.
Sorry, I don't know why I said that.
As opposed to Xbox One.
Xbox One. Is it backwards compatible?
I'm pretty certain it is. I'll check, but I'm pretty certain.
It's an original Xbox game, though.
It
is going to be
yeah.
really bad to go back to?
No. It looks about the same as the opening levels of what's called Fallen Order, so you'll be fine.
Oh, fuck off. No, it doesn't.
I bet it does, actually.
You see Matt slagging off Fallen Order now.
I did like that video you posted,
yeah.
Matt. The that one.
But it's. I mean, because it had the Sonic Adventure music, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
The Sonic Adventure music.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I saw the one where it was like. What? That was the video you posted.
Yeah. It was funny because I had the Sonic Adventure music and the Sonic sounds.
You did. I assumed I upset you with my reply though, because I didn't get a like or anything like that. It was just
I wasn't
radio silence.
No, but did you not listen to it? Do you not listen to that video?
No, I didn't actually hear the audio.
It's all about. It's all about the Sonic Adventure music.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, I missed that. But my reply was spot on. I think it was essentially. I should have. If I'd have known that audio, I would have whacked that over that Uncharted clip.
Yeah, you should have done that. And at that point, would have got a like from me. But as it was, lazy.
No, it wouldn't. You're all bitter. Okay.
No,
you remind me of James and what was that?
Giant
Detroit
Peach?
With this game. No, you remind me of James and Detroit with this game. Because it's like Detroit come out and James was like, yeah, no, it's all right. It's just a bit dull, it's not really, but it's all right. And then ever since it's been like, yeah, fuck that game, fuck it. and that's what you're like with Jedi Fallen Order. On the show, you're going, oh, I really enjoyed it. And then like on Twitter, you're like, yeah, look at this.
That's the only tweet I've said about the game, haven't I? And I said it was perfect given the song.
That's enough. Go on.
You should have learned. We should have learned a lesson, Matt, with Titanfall 2. It's like, don't criticise anything David likes. It ends badly.
Yeah, and it's another Respawn game. I mean, this guy's too lazy, James, to listen to a tweet.
Criticise a game that I like I don't mind you doing that. It's just, make it good criticisms and not, it should be Uncharted. Look how funny the sliding is. It should be more like Uncharted. There was sliding in Uncharted. Yeah, but not that. It's different type.
Listen to this video with the Sonic Adventure music. Oh, no, you didn't. In which case it looks like a man sliding down a load of mud. What's the point?
I will say this, though, right?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The sliding stuff, it is rubbish in Jedi Fallen Order. There's no doubt about that.
It's James' June, James.
Yeah.
Why is that? No, well, I've never said it's good. Why? Where's that come from in 3D action?
It's
games?
mad, isn't it?
It is.
It all came from. It was like Super Mario 64.
It was I actually text John that exact thing.
I thought, if I fall off the edge here, is that going to be a shortcut?
It never is.
No.
It come from that Tomb Raider reboot, right? Because that's what I'm sure that's what
it
was
happens
like.
in that.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, the first reboot. Yeah, had loads of mud sliding.
It was like I was playing those in the Tomb Raider reboot. Going, these bits are a bit shit, but it's like the whole development world went. These are amazing. Make sure our game's got this in. Fucking hell.
Loads of sliding. Just make them slide.
The thing I liked about them, the thing I kept thinking is like, what if? Imagine these were in the movies, where for about 4 or 5 times in the movies, there's just a big sliding and jumping bit, and also in the movies,
followed by 20 minutes of keeping the main character just changing his lightsaber little bits.
And another half hour of people just like going through cracks in like bits of rock. Some of them are really long as well. I know they're hiding loading, and the sliding probably is as well. But some of these are okay, I get it. But there's a fuckload of these little gaps you're squeezing through, isn't it? It's mental.
Part of me with that stuff, the criticism towards that, I'm kind of like, well, what else do you want them to do? You know what I mean? Like, they've got to hide the loading somehow. What can you do? Like, it's just...
I don't know.
Go on.
I wouldn't mind actually a loading screen, like a loading screen the same length as the climb through, a gap. Like, it was like, okay, interesting the first couple of times. What? I just like...
You'd prefer to have a blank screen?
No, not blank screen. A screen with a lovely bit of concept art and a tip on it.
Oh, come on.
Well, I was like, okay, like I'm just thinking about the environment, the planet. This man is constantly squeezing through these gaps.
Would you also want tips where you've got to like press right on the D-pad or whatever and you get new ones each time? Yeah,
because there's always a race, isn't it? Like, how many tips can I read before it comes back into the game?
But the thing is,
seven tips.
You could just look down at the walkthrough that you usually have printed off next to you.
I didn't need to
get your tips from there, man. It's
fine. It's story mode, baby.
Right, so you reckon Knights of the Old Republic would be okay?
Yeah, definitely. It's great.
Yeah, I really want to play it because Blake played it a lot when we were at college, and he was always raving about it, and he still goes like he still mentions it to me all the time. So maybe
it's
now that
it is like proto Mass Effect, as in like that's.
I know that's what's getting me interested. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you can. I just checked. You can definitely play it on Xbox One. So
on Xbox One.
Yeah.
How much is it?
I know,
do you know how much it is?
£4 or something stupid. It's probably nothing. In fact, it's probably
quite pricey.
I thought it was maybe an EA Access, but it's not, is it? Because that was before.
Or Game Pass, maybe, or you might have downloaded. Yeah. It has to be in like a previous game.
Definitely not on Game Pass. But I'll look into it. Maybe after Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
Maybe after Shenmue 3.
It is good.
Capone Adam, I only give £2 a month from the TCGS Patreon, so I've never seen any of your Talkover specials.
That is bang out of order, though, isn't it?
I know.
Because we basically made him famous.
Former collaborator. Now look.
His Peter Molyneux thing stemmed from Joypod, and he's only given two... come on.
Step it up, mate. It looks like you make these available a month or so. Oh, no, it seems like you make these available after a month. And so I randomly came across the Imagine Software documentary this weekend and watched it. It was absolutely wonderful. Wish you could mention these more on the podcast. Like I mentioned, it, Video X is now available for us cheapskates. Looking forward to that Konami one next.
Why doesn't he just subscribe to our YouTube channel and then they pop up on there anyway?
Yeah, that helps. Also, Matt mentions it all the time. So if anything, that kind of confirms the fact that no one listens to the bit at the end, Matt. So
no, I never mentioned that on follow-up, but maybe I will do.
I'm pretty sure you have.
I mean, if I wasn't cut off, maybe people would listen to it. What is the next one we need to... Is it Konami, or is it... I should probably check. Hang on, I'll read the rest of this.
Konami's the next one that goes free.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely, that's a very good one as well. I mean, we kind of lose it towards the end because it gets a bit boring, but it kind of descends into madness a little bit.
The first 45 minutes are gold, though. It was,
they really are.
It was just constant.
I should point out as well that Matt had never seen this before we started recording, so his reaction was quite funny. It was a funny reaction. Okay.
I wondered if, has Ubisoft, has that gone out yet? Anyway,
how do you not know?
I'll find out by the end because I need to set another one live now. But I'll find out by the end for which one. Anyway, Adam continues. Have you ever seen the Ubisoft 4 Honor documentary? It's a full feature on Netflix, which is pretty bonkers and uncomfortable. Not as uncomfortable as a bit in the Imagine documentary when someone is asking an employee to remove their foot in the door, but close. Also, Dave mentioned asking NoClip about a documentary covering the road to E3. I felt the recent God of War documentary did this really well. So it might be another one worth checking out.
I watched that today. The the For Honor documentary.
How long was it?
I mean, hour and a half.
Okay.
I watched it on the bus because it's 2019. But it was, it was really good. The only problem is that have you noticed that Netflix has a documentary style now, and it is a little bit irritating. Like it used to be just like pretty much straight up just like a documentary, talking heads and all this. Now it's like everything is shot low as someone's walking down, and dramatic music, and I don't know. I'm not fully on board with that style, but I did think it was a really good documentary. I think, they very much focused on the positive side of the game, and not like they didn't go into the fact that it wasn't the biggest success, but it was interesting to see a project slip away from someone. I'd say interesting. It's not entertaining. It's a hard watch at times, but I mean, it was a good recommendation. I enjoyed the documentary. Have you not seen it, man? No,
no, I haven't. No, but I will check it out because I do love a game documentary. I will just check. Ubisoft is the one that will be live by the time we listen to this show.
Right. Okay.
So we'll put it out there. That was Dave wasn't on that one, but it was better if anything.
Oh yeah, I wasn't on that one.
Raffy plays. James is intentionally trying to avoid saying in the beginning, but now he's just replacing it with at the start. Just stick with in the beginning. Otherwise, we're going to need a replacement phrase every few months.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to do because I can't. If I say in the beginning, there's all that sort of stuff. And
we won't do that anymore, James. We're bigger than that.
No, you're not. That's absolutely you're not.
Well, it's all right. We'll just do it when you say it at the start as well now, and then see how you try and mangle your own language to.
I'm going to have to try and think I'm going to think of a new phrase. This is annoying.
Yeah, James is going to have the thesaurus in front of him. Instead of beginning, the conception of this. Athene Allen, extremely funny hearing you lot talk about being able to return to the exact point of a game after an update. That was we're discussing what things we would love to have happen in next gen, and the idea of like updating the game and going straight back to where you were sounds brilliant. Anyway, Athene continues. This is completely impossible. Computers just don't work that way. To elaborate, save states work by saving the internal state of the components in the device, then installing them later. For old consoles, this is easy. A few megabytes of RAM to reload quick. Reloading 8 gig of RAM for a PS4 is a wee bit harder. This also works. This also only works if the internal structure of the executable exactly lines up, else it addresses for variables and stuff changes, so it won't be viable for saving state before or after an update. Well, hopefully next gen they'll fix that problem.
The thing is, right, what sort of attitude is that? If everyone had that attitude, we'd all still be on like iPhone 3 or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There'd be no innovation. Oh, you can't do it. It can't be done. Steve Jobs comes in and goes, yeah, look, it's fucking your whole fucking record collection.
It can be done. Look, Pornhub's now on the phone. It's not in ASCII anymore. They can do
it. Exactly. I can watch
different,
VR
Athene.
porn.
Think different.
Yeah,
we can't do everything.
Yeah.
We're doing this. You need to be sorting out the computer side of things. Get it?
You're thinking in the box, right? We need you thinking out of the box. Yeah? Get rid of the box.
And then think about when you restart the box, you want to go back to the same part of the box you were before. That's
exactly.
That's what we need to do. Think about it.
It seems hard because it's physically impossible because computers don't work that way. Boxes don't work that way.
Invent a new computer, Athene. Come on. We can't do everything. Think about it. You've embarrassed yourself there.
It's such a bad... Oh, I can't... There's no way we're going to win this football game, but there's 10 minutes left and you're 3-0 down. No, I give up. That's not the attitude. Get out there, score 4 goals.
Yeah, Athene.
Sick of it.
Jesus. Speaking of embarrassing... you guys embarrassed yourself last week. Ben Simon, Matt Scientologist. During the Alex news piece, some of you were mentioning Bridge Constructor. That was Portal, not Half-Life, right? I was thinking that when you said that, but I was like, I'm not going to say it next.
No, you didn't. I thought
that was a Portal thing, but I was like, clearly I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say anything?
Because I thought I must be wrong.
It's a Portal thing, but it's all in the same universe. So
but it's not Half-Life. It's Portal, it's not Half-Life.
It's in the same universe,
Matt there. Right, okay, let's deconstruct this a little bit. Firstly, I didn't say it because I'd never heard of it. Secondly, I'm with Matt. You can't say, oh, no, it's in the same universe. No, that's not what we were talking about. That's not an excuse.
No, it's not Half-Life. It's Portal. It's not Half-Life.
Thirdly, Matt, there's no way you picked up on that.
I definitely did, but I was like... Why
didn't you say anything?
Because it's not worth it. I would have been wrong somehow.
But what?
Because someone said, actually... It was, I thought it was Paul, but no, it doesn't matter.
Actually, Gordon Freeman is in the game, and
there's a cutscene where he's in it, and technically that's Half-Life. So up yours.
God, not everyone is a Starcalls listener. So, you might have got away with it.
They mostly are. Then we had a couple of tweets about Gris obviously coming out in 2018 after the Gotti draft. So yes, sadly they do count towards the 2019 games. I don't know. I wonder if anyone's going to nominate. I don't think they will. But...
Well, I hope they don't because it will save me 15 quid. But that's the sort of game that if it gets dropped in a draft next week, I'm going to have to force myself to play it because it's quite short and I'm quite interested in it. I am quite interested in it.
That's it for feedback. It's at Computer
What was that, James?
Well, I've played it. It's all right.
Oh, you didn't like it, did you?
It's all right. It's fine.
It's one of the 60 games he doesn't like this year.
Yeah. It is. It's on a list of things that were good, but not great. It's yeah.
Okay.
Well, just have a list of top 10 good of the year. These are good. Number 10, that was good. Number 9, that was also good. Number 1, this
games
was
that
good.
Were reasonably fun. That
The thing is, right, I'm going to rig it next week so that James picks his game last. so by the time it gets to his last 2 that he needs to buy his wild card, what the fuck is that going to be?
I have no idea what that's going to be yet. It's very difficult.
That's it for feedback. It's at Computer Game on Twitter if you want to tweet us some feedback, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Wicked. All right, let's get straight to the news, James.
News. Okay, so the first bit of news is about VR and Project Scarlet, because apparently Phil Spencer isn't interested in it.
Oh, we knew this.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, didn't he say that about 3 years ago?
Yeah, well, he said, no, that's the thing though, because he said it like 3 years ago, but then that was for like the current, for the Xbox One X and everything.
X.
And then so the figure, people.
Xbox One?
No, the Xbox One X.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a callback, James.
It was a callback, James.
Oh,
Come on,
sorry.
keep it going.
Whatever. Anyway.
Xbox One X! Go on.
Yeah, so, but then I think people were probably figuring that maybe this would have changed by this point, because, I mean, if you think about it, we've had like the last...
Really? No.
No. Okay, listen, right. The last 2 years or so, there has been a pretty big sort of like push for VR. Like, particularly last year, there was a big push for VR. Are you mad, David? You weren't even here.
Really?
David, you weren't even on the show last year, like with all this stuff.
You weren't even here. I was still alive.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't know what was going on. It's by your own admission.
Well, I mean, you're quite right. But in what way did they push for VR over the past 2 years?
Well, no, Sony have, certainly. I mean, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Matt? That they were like,
yeah, I mean actually, there's been other follow-up pieces to this, and actually, people understand, it's not a massive push, but also like PSVR is slowly turning to like a 2 billion part of like Sony's like revenue.
Well, slow down. Slow down. Right? Yeah, but that's just on the headsets being like fucking grand. And you just said, oh no, people understand it hasn't been a big push. So was it a big push or wasn't it?
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying like people largely agree with the sentiment of Phil's statement, but also quite quietly, Sony is making like a lot of money with its PSVR headset. I would say that's largely actually down to the fact that it was very basic technology and they probably had loads stored in the warehouse from the move days. And like they've sold over 4 million headsets, so they are doing good numbers with that. I think it's easily like the headset with the largest sort of install base. But it's niche. It is niche.
But what it is it's like we had the what's the one you've got? Is it the Oculus Go? I can't
Oculus
remember
Quest.
Yeah, you got the Oculus Quest, right? That came out,
Oculus
and then you've
Gold.
got like the PSVR as well, and all of these things. Like maybe last year, it was looking like VR may be becoming a thing. This year, I don't think it has been. I mean, I was trying to think earlier today, like what have I actually played on VR this year, and it's been I think Everybody's Golf was the only game I played. I've played virtually nothing on it because it doesn't feel.
You streamed a game in VR, James.
Did I? Oh yeah, The Impatient. I did that one as well. Yeah, but in general though, it hasn't been like last year where we had stuff like Astrobot and other stuff, that came out. It doesn't feel like they really built on the momentum that they had at the end of last year. For this year, like Sony with the PSVR. And the point I was trying to make about this is that. See, Phil Spencer said all this stuff before, like prior to the Oculus Quest and prior to like PSVR becoming like a bigger thing. And then I think the thinking was maybe over the next 2 years since he said that, it would have become more of a part of Microsoft's plans. But then it seems that maybe it isn't, and they don't care.
We haven't actually had the quote from this piece, have we? We should probably say what he said.
Yeah, which bit? I mean, we've got here. I mean, he said I have some issues with VR. He said it's isolating, and I think of games as a communal kind of together experience. We're responding to what our customers are asking for, and nobody's asking for VR.
I am not sure I agree with that. I think VR. Honestly, I'm not bowled over by VR. I don't. It's not a replacement for gaming.
Not in PokerStars.
Well, this is what I'm getting to because I find it really interesting that my favourite game on it is PokerStars VR, and if you remove the poker from it completely, and just concentrate on why I'm going back to that every night, it's not necessarily for the poker. Because we could play the countless amount of poker games that you get on the consoles or on our phones or whatever. It is the social experience behind it. I'm playing with close friends that don't live close by, and we're all chatting and having a laugh, and you just feel it's weird. It's like a different connection that you don't get playing with a headset on, because you could see people and you can see their body language, and you can make like physical jokes, and stuff like that. And I've found that side of VR way more interesting than, hey, here's a normal game that we're trying to force into a VR setting.
Yeah.
Like, and when I think of that, I think this might be weird actually, because I sent a long email to Giant Bomb about this in the week. So if this gets read out on their podcast, yeah. When I think about what I enjoy about PokerStars VR, yes, the poker's brilliant and all the toys and stuff you get to play with around the table is really funny and really cool. But ultimately, it's about that social experience, about sitting around a table with your mates and having a laugh with them, right? And I was thinking maybe forcing traditional games like shooters, like rhythm action games and stuff, is maybe not the way to go. Maybe it is to focus on tabletop gaming in a VR space. That is what's going to get people returning to it over and over again. Imagine, like, I'm not into Dungeons and Dragons at all, but imagine that or Games Workshop stuff being played out on a table with your friends all sat round it chatting and stuff, but it all coming to life in front of all of you. I think that's a pretty cool concept. Like, that's a pretty cool idea. And one of the reasons I don't like playing VR is because I haven't got a lot of space, and I haven't got, I come home from work, I don't want to be dashing around my living room and flailing my arms about and shit and worried if I'm knocking shit off the shelf. Playing poker, I'm sitting in my chair and I'm, it's minimal movement. It's not much effort to play. And having tabletop gaming in VR, I think, is more exciting than pretending to shoot mans. I don't know. I think if they swing the right way with that and they rethink the software they're bringing out on these things, do you get that as well, right? Where you're playing a VR game, like, say, for example, Astrobot. Let's take Astrobot, for example. Astrobot was fantastic. When you knew that you had to do a full 180 to look around at something, did you get a bit pissed off?
It is annoying, isn't it? Because it is. You see, and that's one of the things. One of the things I enjoyed the most about PSVR is that you get from it that you don't get from any other kind of experience is the scale with things, and that was what was really cool with Astrobot. But the other stuff of like the movement stuff, it does get annoying, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
It really does. Headbutting those things, looking around 180 degrees. Every time that happens in a VR game, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Whereas when I'm playing poker, you're literally just looking straight ahead of you, chatting to your mates, playing your cards. It's good fun, man.
But it is like another level of immersion you get from that as well, isn't it? Because, even if you're just sitting there, 100%. which is what's great about it. But yeah, I think you're right, though. The flailing stuff is irritating, and it's one of the reasons. It's one of the things that often stops me going back to things. Is that sometimes, in the evening when you come back from work or whatever, you don't really want to be doing something that active. You just want to sit there, and that's, I guess, what you're saying about the poker as well. It's like you just can sit there and do it.
How's Ring Fit Adventure working out for you, James?
Yeah, need to talk about that sometime.
What have you broken the ring?
I haven't touched it since it happened. I was ill, and then I haven't gone back to it. But I was actually planning tomorrow to play it tomorrow evening, so I'm going to get back into it.
You said you don't want to be active when you're going from work.
Yeah, exactly. It might be. Maybe it'll be on my Game of the Year list. We never know. But yeah.
That's slightly different, though, isn't it?
What?
Is it good enough for you to go on your list? Is it?
I don't know. I haven't played enough of it.
All right, there's a bit sexual tension.
I don't know what happened there. That was
it
went a bit quiet and odd.
So I when I saw this news about Phil Spencer saying, "Look, we ain't interested in VR," I totally got it, because there's enough people doing it. Entering that space is going to take a lot of money and effort, and it's not something I think is going to be I can't see it being like a game changer. In terms of traditional gaming,
you say money and effort. But Nintendo did it with Labo VR. I don't know.
yeah, good point. Yeah, they didn't really put the money and effort into it, but I don't know. It would have been interesting. I still kind of think what they should do is, if they want to jump into the VR space, just say, okay, pretty much any headset can plug into an Xbox One. Well, an Xbox, whatever it's called next. I think that's the way to go for them.
Yeah, they should totally do it. So maybe they can do it. I mean, any Vive, any Oculus.
But they'd have to do deals, wouldn't they, with like Facebook and whatever to allow that sort of thing to happen.
I'm pretty sure they'll be able to strike those deals. It'd be way
cheaper now having to develop their own headset. I mean, I as a lover of VR, saw this quote and said, I totally get it. It's, Sony have done what they've done because they've used tons of their technology they had already from iToy, and no doubt sort of leftover moves and stuff. They haven't had to develop like a whole new way of doing VR like Vive, like Oculus, with like sensors and inside out tracking and this and that. They basically they've used what they had before, and they've done amazing well considering how basic, relatively so, the technology is. It's still pretty immersive given it's quite basic. Obviously, Microsoft had Kinect. Maybe there's something they can do there, but I sort of quote and said, no, it makes total sense. They don't need to do it, and I don't. Obviously, I love VR, and it will be interesting to have VR on any Xbox platform. But I bet no one's asking for it. I think people are quite happy with what they got elsewhere, and I think it probably will happen at some point, because I do generally think, PSVR is just going to sell more and more, and I think, suddenly it's about, hang on, there's like, Sony got like, 4 or 5 billion in revenue to get for, each year for PSVR. Maybe we should do something, but surely, I definitely agree with you, Dave. The best thing to do is just say, Vive now works on Xbox. You can buy software from us. Maybe obviously that's going to be an issue with like developers making games, knowing, okay, well, how many are actually got Xboxes and Vives? There's like a...
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but
that would be the easy way
They run on all different spec PCs, don't they? So
yeah, that'll be the easy way into, every Vive works now.
I think... also the other thing with this is that since the whole like Xbox One Connect, debacle, all of that with the launch, one of the things that Phil Spencer's been really good at is just everything's been like laser focused on just games. It's all just been about games with no distractions. And VR is a distraction. It's like another peripheral to sell people. It's another thing to try and to have to support and everything. Maybe they don't want to do that because it's just not worth it.
Maybe wait another generation when Microsoft win the next one, then think, hang on, we can do what we want now. And then they'll go VR and it will go bad. Speaking of VR...
Bit off topic. Sorry, just a bit... just while we're talking about like Microsoft's next machine, I know that they're not going to go back to Kinect, right? And that's the right decision. I do kind of hope that they take on board what, the Google Assistant's doing and Alexa and stuff like that.
I definitely miss it into voice activated stuff, definitely.
It already does that, doesn't it? Xbox One already does that. Like with,
not in the way it should. Like we've all got these. Not everyone's got them, but I've got one of those smart speaker things that you shout at and it does stuff. If that was just integrated into the Xbox itself, you could do so much with that. And it just worries me that they're going to look at, like, if that idea came up, they were like, no, Kinect was a disaster. Let's not go anywhere near that.
No, I doubt that.
You just kind of think.
Although it's interesting.
They've canned Cortana, haven't they?
Yeah, I was going to say they canned Cortana, but also they've like got integration now with Google. What is it? Google
with Alexa.
Or Alexa. Alexa. They've got Alexa thing now where you can say to Alexa, I presume if your Xbox is on like a smart plug. I don't know how it works.
If it's on the same network or whatever, you can like say Alexa, switch my Xbox on or whatever, and it will.
Yeah, which is fine, but that's nothing, is it? I want to be able to say things like, and all that.
Alexa, take a screenshot and things like that.
Yeah,
or snap that. Snap this with whatever. That stuff.
They'll. I just hope they do something with that. I think it's I like the idea of voice activation stuff, and
I don't need like a whole newer system because obviously Cortana they've sort of like feels like stepping away from, but I just want the ability to Xbox to snap that or take a picture or save that or turn on like it just needs a mic in like the machine or the I guess the machine would make sense if it's always on standby, it will always be listening rather than the pad which will go off. But put a mic in there so we can just talk to it. Don't expect
stick a mic in it.
I still could not care less about that at all. I really couldn't. I still would rather use like buttons or whatever. I don't like.
But even now, Siri all the time.
What do you mean?
You use Siri all the time.
Yeah, when I'm driving, but not just like in the house. I don't just like start shouting stuff at it to make it do things.
No, but I'd love to be able to, like in the old days when you first got Kinect, Matt, on your Xbox One, just walking into your front room and saying Xbox on and it turned your TV on and it turned your Xbox on and while you were just like settling in or whatever.
What's the difference though between doing that? I mean, if you're going to be playing a game, you're going to pick up a pad anyway. You just press the button, it switches
Not
on,
straight
everything switches
away.
on.
Yeah, because you can walk into the lounge, say Xbox on, that starts booting up, you get the kettle on, you come back, the Xbox is on, ready to go, maybe an update's downloaded. I also miss Netflix
or while you're
pausing.
searching for the pad, because in my fucking house I always go fucking missing. You know what I mean, that's another thing I want, to be able to say Xbox, where's my pad, and it just makes a little beeping sound.
Beeps, that'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, for sure,
great.
for sure.
Speaking of VR though, following last week's Half-Life Alyx announcement, they actually sold out of indexes at one point on Steam. You couldn't get one before Christmas at one point, so clearly that Alyx announcement alone has sort of shifted units. I mean, God knows how many they actually had. Could have had 2, but it's clearly enough to shift some units, which is interesting. And I've seen loads of posts on Reddit and other places saying, I want to build a machine now for Alyx. What are the specs? What do I do? It feels like even that alone is like maybe people going, okay, Half-Life, maybe I will look into VR now.
I reckon there's going to be a lot of disappointed people doing that, to be honest. I mean,
so do I.
I remember doing that for Half-Life 2. I remember building a PC that would be good enough to play it, and in that case, it was totally worth it. It was really great. But in this case,
okay, well, that's a great example of people actually being quite satisfied of it. So.
Okay.
They're good guide. Well, apart from the one time I did it, that was amazing. But they're going to be pretty annoying.
I did realise that as I was saying it, and that's why I said in that case it was totally worth it.
One time I did it, and it was one of the best games of all time. But apart from that example,
but in this case,
bad example.
I think they're going to be disappointed.
James.
Yeah, fucked it. Never mind.
Okay. Oh god, I think people are going to really hate Zelda because do you remember when Breath of the Wild come out and it's one of the best games in the world actually. So
yeah, realised it as I was saying it.
Remember when N64? What was this Mario game? Apart from that, was actually one of the best games of all time. So that worked out.
Okay. Go on.
Okay. I've got a Google News. Stadia. I can't even speak now.
I've got Google News
Stadia News Roundup.
You got a Google News Stadia roundup. Okay, right.
Basically, there's been a whole ton of Stadia news stories this week because
has there really? Like, did we miss a lot? Like, because I know it feels like ages ago since all this stuff come out.
There was stuff that happened. Like, I think it was on Tuesday morning and things like that. It was just after we'd recorded and things. So it's been a while. So anyway, the first thing is that Google have responded to complaints about 4K gaming on Stadia. So, what the fuck's that?
The person was confronted.
Siri again. What is going on with? Oh, I know what. I don't know what happened there. Forget it.
Go on. No, what have I done?
That was. I don't know how that.
Because you know how much. You know how great voice activation stuff is, Matt.
Yeah, it's rubbish,
except for that
isn't it?
time where it keeps playing shit over my microphone.
Yeah,
apart from that time.
Exactly. This is what I mean about it being not very good. I don't like it. Anyway. Google has been accused of breaking promises over 4K gaming, and this is because the titles that have come out are not running at 4K and 60 frames per second. And you can say, who cares? It doesn't matter and everything. But Phil Harrison had said before launch, he said all games at launch support 4K was what he was, and he said also.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's saying it doesn't matter. I don't care. I think I saw this when I think I brought it up last week. I think it's shocking. Well, I really do.
I mean, because do you remember, for the launch and everything, prior to the launch, they did all the marketing thing, and one of the things he said that Stadia had more power than an Xbox One X and a PS4 Pro combined. And it's the usual marketing kind of stuff. And it says up to 4K, and that's locked behind the $8.99 Stadia Pro subscription. And do you want to hear the quote he said about this?
Yes, please.
So he said, we designed Stadia to enable 4K 60 frames per second with appropriate TV and bandwidth. We want all games to play 4K 60, but sometimes for artistic reasons, a game is 4K 30, so Stadia always streams at 4K 60 via a 2x encode. And he's but then the thing is the Stadia version of Destiny 2 is at 1080p and is then upscaled, so it never actually gets to 4K. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is the same, it's 1080p or 1440p. And
right, so that's on the Pro version. So what?
Yeah.
For the standard free version, they're
it's just
coming
1080p.
out. What is that going to be knocked down to?
It's 540p.
Oh, so you're not getting a better. You're paying a monthly subscription for and it's not going to be better.
No.
Well, the idea is that it will be better, I presume.
In theory, it will be, yeah. And
Well, no, how will it be better? Well, like, what are you getting from the standard? What's the upgrade on Destiny and that other one?
on Red Dead Redemption 2, there isn't one. That's the point. Like, so this is why people are annoyed, because they've said that it would be like 4K 60 frames per second, and it's not. Like, basically, and he said that the reason for this is because they're letting developers choose how to render stuff, and it's nothing to do with Google. Was what they said.
I don't believe that.
No, it's weird.
That's insane. What? So they will let developers knowingly put out these things which are less than their advertised 4K and say, well, actually, it's
No, I believe that. I totally believe that. Like,
they're the platform holder. Surely they're like, okay, well, it's 4K.
But you can't force a developer to make their game come out in 4K if it's not going to fucking run well. There's no way they can enforce that. My point is this, right? Probably check to make sure you've got 4K games on before you start blurting that out there to sell your subscription service. Like, I mean, you want to make sure that these games are running at 4K before you start telling everyone that, hey, yeah, we're doing 4K. Like, that's where they've gone wrong.
I mean, even
don't
most
think you could
Xbox
turn
and
around
PlayStation
to
games aren't true 4K because they're upscaling and all sorts of stuff, or they might not. They might be just below true 4K.
In this case, though, they were making a big thing out of like how they could do this because it was so much more powerful than PS4 Pro and like Xbox One X.
It's like one of the selling points, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're going to get true 4K 60 frames per second kind of thing with Stadia, and you better to like stream it on all your devices and everything. And it's like it's not really true, is it? Like, absolutely, it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, I think Google are in the wrong here, whether it be because they haven't, worked this out with developers before announcing stuff, or they've just, come out with these wild claims that might have the disclaimers to get them out of arguments, but it wasn't how it felt like it was being sold to consumers. I remember we had an email a few weeks ago saying, hey, this is why I'm interested in Google Stadia, and it's because I don't want to shell out a ridiculous amount of money to run a game in its top settings, and that's why I want to get Google Stadia. And so they were convinced that they were going to get one of the best looking experiences for that game using their system, but it turns out you're not.
Because that was the whole thing with, like, for example, like Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like the whole idea was that you buy that on Stadia and it will be the absolute, like, as good as like the highest spec like PC version of it, and it's not at all. It's like 1080p, which is not great. But yeah,
which isn't Red Dead native 4K on Xbox One?
I think it is, yeah. And it's like it does it as well
the
on
X, I mean.
PS4 Pro, but it's like checkerboarded like one, isn't it? It's like not as good.
It's fake. We discussed that. It's fake 4K.
Yeah, it's not as good as the One X version.
Yeah, it's faux K. That's what we call it.
Oh, hello, Matt. Where did you read that? Where did you nick that from?
I think we said
Twitter,
that about 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Next.
Okay, so then also the other thing that's happened this week was that there's NBA 2K20 has come out like for Google Stadia, and you know how there's supposed to be like no updates and no patches with like Stadia games. It's like they're always
famously one of the big things that they said. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a Redditor.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
Well, there's a Redditor whose name is the ID is like 121910, and he posted a screenshot of like 2K20 downloading a game update on Stadia. Like he started the game up and it was like downloading an update, and he was like, the update only took 2 minutes to apply, but he was like, it's still odd. And Google responded and just said, oh, it's a bug. But thanks for bringing it to our attention. That it's starting doing updates.
Well, if it's one dude on Reddit complaining about it, it probably was a bug, wasn't it?
But
I don't think you can have a go for that.
I mean, Digital Foundry, like they looked at it and they reckon that what happened is it's because NBA 2K20 on Stadia is probably an older version of the game, and they hadn't it wasn't pre-patched or whatever, so that's why it kind of did that. But Google said they're going to fix it. So
yeah, I've got a feeling, but because there's also that problem, you're playing an online game. And if a a patch comes out, which you have to update for online games. Like that's usually the thing. But if you're playing it when that patch goes live, like what happens then? How do they get around that issue?
No idea.
I think the only bug in this case is that the user actually saw it on the front end. This definitely happens in the back end. It's like normally they would just see like a loading screen. But oh no, shit! We forgot to actually show you. We actually accidentally showed you the game updating when actually it's doing it anyway. We just don't show you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing that happened was that Google have started offering refunds after adding games to the Pro subscription that were previously on sale.
This was unbelievable.
That was fucking stupid.
This is like okay. Well, I'll let you read the story first before I go into it.
Okay, so for this month, they were like adding another 2 games, obviously, to the thing. But this is, I mean, Stadia's only been out for 2 weeks, isn't it? At this stage, 2 or 3 weeks.
It came out on the 19th, but this was on the 1st of December.
Yeah, so these games had already been for sale for like quite some time, and I mean Tomb Raider. So they added 2 games. They added Farming Simulator 19 and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. It's
not quite some time. These games were on sale. So actually, this thing got announced on the 27th. So they're on sale for like a week, basically.
Yeah. So people had the opportunity to buy these games, and like Tomb Raider, for example, I think was on discount. It was like $8.99 or something. Farming Simulator is around £30 or whatever. But then they've added it to like the free subscription thing for Stadia Pro. So this meant that people that have bought them, obviously they're out of luck because they've already done it. But it was okay because, I mean, Google did move reasonably quickly with this and have offered refunds to people that bought them. But the weird thing about it is it's like you have to manually request the refund. Like it's not automatic. So it's like you have to go in there and like say, yeah, actually, I want my money back.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect that. I mean, on the day these things got announced, people were like, hang on, I bought this yesterday or a couple of days ago. People were saying, oh, well, it'd be okay because you can get refunds on Stadia if you played a game for less than 2 hours. And someone's like, well, I played for 5 hours yesterday. And they're like, well, you might be out of luck. But yeah, like Google clearly saw that there's going to be a whole, like, mess appearing on the horizon. So they quickly acted and said, yeah, you can.
It's just so stupid. Why don't you hold off? Why don't you hold that game back from the initial launch lineup if you know that's going to be free? A week later,
it felt to me like that was like panicking, though, wasn't it? And like trying to get some like good publicity or whatever. Like there are more games.
Yeah, but they just made it worse.
Well,
it's bad panicking.
They're pretty good at that, though. Like, so it's just I don't know. That's what I think they were doing.
Yeah, so like the idea is either they have had a massive roadmap and they knew exactly these games are going to be added to Stadia Pro library a week later. Either they knew that and then they only had the others that had them on sale and knew there'd be a fuck up, or they, as James implied, just said just add anything quick, and then they managed to get the agreement that these 2 could be added. But then that's made things worse. It's like, surely it's the first one. Surely they're not just panicking that much. They're like, just get any 2 games. So if it's the first one, then how can they be that poorly managed? Where they're like, yeah, well, let people buy them, but in a week after launch, they'll be free. That won't annoy people, will it? No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. It's crazy.
It does seem that they're absolutely clueless as to what gamers kick off about.
I mean, the weird thing is, there's people like Jade Raymond and Spencer. There are loads of people actually that have worked in the industry that know this stuff, but I don't know. It feels like feels so poorly managed.
This whole thing to me feels like peak, like sort of Google hubris, to be honest. It's like they're a massive company. We can just come in and do whatever we want, and people will love it and everything. And that's what it feels like to me. I don't think they've thought through a lot of this stuff at all because they just think they're too massive and it doesn't matter.
I really don't know Google that well as a company, so I don't know how common this sort of stuff is, but I mean,
not that common because they've launched great phones like the Pixel range. They have them on sale.
Yeah, but they've also
they go out and they know what they're doing. So again, it's not even like their first product. They've sold physical items and they've done well and they're generally well received.
That's not true. They've released
the Pixel phones. People love
the Pixel phones, but what about
Chromecast?
What about
their
tablets?
Google Home people love.
What about their tablets?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've chosen the one thing that they've said they're not going to do, but Android tablets aren't a thing anymore. But all the other products they've announced and shown, Chromecast, Google Homes, all the hardware they've done, they've been well received generally, and they've gone out on launch day and they know what they're doing. But this just feels like, it feels like people don't know anything. It's crazy.
I mean, Matt, there's whole websites that are dedicated to like Google products that have like failed. There's tons of them. Like this, I mean, okay, Shall I go through the list? Actually, I'm not going to because it's like about 50 pages and pages of things where they've like launched that have not worked out. They don't always like bang like everything they release at all.
No, but I was talking to you about the things that they've released hardware-wise recently. That they know how to launch products. What I'm trying to say, this isn't their first rodeo.
It's Google
or
Wave.
their first farming simulator. It's crazy. Okay. Look forward to the next set of games released probably tomorrow at this rate.
Yeah. Well,
what's the next on that list, James?
Well, because the next story is related to this because they have hired some Assassin's Creed developers to work on Stadia games. So there's like 3 people. It's Francois Pellon, Mathieu Ledoux, and Sebastian Puel have joined like the Jade Raymond's Stadia Games and Entertainment Studio from Ubisoft. They've all worked on Assassin's Creed stuff, so they're all going to be working on stuff for Stadia. So I guess that's good. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the people know what they're doing. So, yeah, awesome. It'd be interesting to see what their first-party studios look like in a couple of years' time with all this talent they keep acquiring.
Mm-hmm.
And how quickly they get this stuff out. Because, you know, it takes a long time to
If they're hiring now,
games.
but this was like 2 years. I mean,
I know,
that's the thing, isn't it? It's not going to be quick.
But this is what's really mad, isn't it? You're just thinking, like, when Microsoft launched with the Xbox, like the original Xbox, they spent ages like trying to figure out like what games they were launching with and everything, and like getting Halo ready and stuff like that. This is like, I mean, if they'd have launched like the original Xbox in the same way that Google have launched this, it would have been dead. Like, there's no way it would have succeeded. It's just bizarre. I don't know why
like launch product first and then start hiring people to make games second.
It's weird. Okay, the next story is that Valve ending like the Steam controller thing. So, yeah,
it was always a bit weird, that thing, wasn't it? I mean, I heard that it's quite good for a very specific type of game, but yeah, no, as a controller on you might as well not bother. I mean, I saw people. Sean put out a message saying, "Hey, so the Steam controller is £4 at the moment. Should I bother?" And pretty much everyone was saying to him, "No, it's not even worth that." Have either of you used it?
No, but it's because it was supposed to be designed, wasn't it? Doesn't it like mimic a like keyboard and mouse kind of like with touchpads?
It's supposed to be a replacement for
that was the original idea. I mean, the original version looked a little bit different. Like the original version had like both of those things were trackpads, and then after like testing, they actually said, "Oh no, it's probably better to be a bit more standard." So I think one of them now is more like an analog thing. And I mean, I gather for games like Civ and those sorts of games, it is quite good, but it's not quite the fully unique controller that it was once promised to be, just because testing said actually it needs to be a bit more normal. But I really want to have a go at one, and it was like £4, but like £7 postage, and I was on it too late. But I would want to like hold on to it, like even if
I'm glad someone's trying. It's been a while since we've had a big breakthrough on controllers. So they tried, they failed, but it would be good to see someone just like break the mold a little bit with controllers.
Well, I mean,
something new to play with.
Some people really did like it because apparently it's very configurable as well. Like you can make loads of changes to it in software, to make it do all sorts of things. So people did like it.
Don't most controllers do that now, though? I mean, I understand that Microsoft have pretty much opened up all that stuff, and you can completely customize your controller. But I didn't know if that was just the Elite or the standard ones as well. I'm pretty sure it's the standard ones.
There's things you can do in there in the OS, I think, like that. But yeah.
All right. Well, all the customization's really good because it may not affect you, but the in terms of accessibility, it's a huge thing, isn't it?
Okay. Last story is that Shenmue 3 has sold badly in Japan. And, well, I don't know elsewhere, but it came 4th in the Japanese charts last week, and it sold less than 18,000 and 17th in the UK charts. But the thing is we've talked about this offline, but it's like, I mean...
Yeah, there are plenty of caveats to consider here, but I didn't know it was that low.
Yeah, I mean, it sold like less than half that remastered, like, Shenmue and Shenmue 2 sold, like, in 2018.
The debut week fit in the charts, the remaster beat it.
I mean, almost certainly.
I mean, in that chart in Japan, it only had 1 day of that week.
That's also true. There's like 1 day.
It didn't have 7 days of sales. It had 1 day of sales.
But also, it's
so
70,000 people as well. Yeah, that like backed it on Kickstarter, and it doesn't include those people. like in that number.
Yeah,
So.
the caveats that we're referring to is we were saying, look, anyone that was interested in this game, most people would have backed it. So, and they're not included in these figures. So, I think that's part of it. Also, digital downloads aren't usually included in these figures. So, I mean, I haven't looked into small text, but I'm assuming that's part of the case as well. James, is it?
Yeah.
So
James hasn't looked either.
Yeah. No, he hasn't. He just took it. He just guessed then, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Digital sales boy. It's still pretty shocking. I think it's like it's lower than I thought, and
Really?
you do have to wonder if this is 40% of the story, James.
How do you mean?
Are we going to see the other 60%?
What do you mean? I'm really confused. What you
Well,
mean?
didn't
by
he
that.
say that you've got the story is supposed to be 40% complete by the end of Shenmue 3?
Yeah. It's still not going to be. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if this is ever going to get ended, is it now? Because I mean, Yu Suzuki came out not so long ago and said that he would continue making these for as long as people wanted to fund them or buy them or whatever. So I'm sure there's going to be another Kickstarter coming. Mind you, it should be easier now because at least they must have all the assets and all that kind of thing. Like a lot of that more nailed down.
Yeah.
But yeah, still irritating, that is. But I mean, I'm not at all surprised by this. I mean, I honestly just thought this was only going to be the backers were going to be interested in this. I don't think anyone else would care because it's such a the original sold so badly anyway, and it's always been like seen as being like a bit of a weird like sort of niche thing. I'm not at all surprised by this.
So as a fan, right? If they say, look, the last one didn't sell that well, didn't make much money. We've been given a budget to continue the Shenmue saga, but we've got to modernise it all. How would you feel about that?
Modernise it? In what way? You mean like in terms of like gameplay mechanics and that kind
Loot
of thing?
boxes.
Make it more of a traditional action
Battle
game.
Pass.
No, not that far. But, it'll play like more of an action game. There's going to be less running around talking and learning moves and stuff.
I don't know. You'd have to ask me that at the end of once I finish this, whether I care enough still about the story to want to just see the conclusion no matter what.
How far into it are you now?
Not that much further than I was last week. I mean, we can talk about what you've been playing,
much.
but yeah, it's
Okay, cool.
But that's it. That's all I got.
Cool. All right, that's the news done. Should we get on to what you've been playing?
Yeah.
Let's go straight into Shenmue then. Because I've been playing it. I did 3 streams this week.
Yeah.
All about 2 of them were over an hour. And one of them was just under. So yeah, I'm about 3 hours in. What do I say about this game? Because I didn't really give my opinions while I was playing it. But I'm enjoying it way more than I thought I would.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's, as you were saying last week, it really does focus in on the Shenmue 2 style of conversation rather than it does the Shenmue 1. And that is a massive, massive shame, right?
Yeah.
So there's even moments where I was walking past the bridge. So there's a bridge just before you get to the village. And there's usually 2 guys defending it, right, from thugs. It's a bit weird because you're supposed to think that this is a completely isolated village away from everything.
That whole thing is messed up. Go on.
And apparently they have to guard it 24/7
with sticks. It's like
yeah. And
in 1989 or whatever. It's like
when one of them goes away to do some other stuff, he's still carrying that stick around with him. Like it's like they couldn't let him drop it for a moment to go and do some other animation. He's just sort of tied to his hand. And I walked past those guys and I said, this was on the stream, I said, I wonder what they're up to now. Let me just have a chat with them. And he was like, can you tell me where the training, like where martial arts training is? And I was like, well, A, I've just been there, so there's no need to ask. I know where it is. B, why can't I just talk to them? Why is it like forcing me to ask that question? So that stuff is really shit.
It does that,
but
for everything, and it is disappointing because that's one of the other things. Because I was remembering like how. Like you said, like with the first game, it felt like everybody was on their own sort of like schedule, didn't it? They were all like doing their own. They had to a degree, they had their own lives, that they were living. You don't get that with this at all. Like you really don't.
No, you don't.
It's just they're there.
What
I
do like about it though is that Shenmue 2 had a load of moments where it gated things off, right? Where it said, okay, you've followed the story for a while. We need to prolong the game a little bit because it's quite short. So let's get them behind a paywall to continue. And then they have to go and do jobs and stuff. But everything it wanted you to do to earn money or to, build up whatever you needed to build up to progress the story was fucking boring. Like, it was awful in Shenmue 2. It was like, the biggest problem with Shenmue 2 is that you always felt way too poor and the stuff to earn money was far too little.
Oh dear.
You couldn't...
Go on.
Oh no! Yeah, I'll get to that. But it was kind of like I want to go into the arcades and play on the arcades for a bit, like I did with Shenmue 1, but I can't afford it, and I'm behind a system where it's saying that I need to make 500 currency to progress. So I'm not going to spend my money on the various different things you've laid out for me. So in this, I'm finding. This might annoy you, but it's kind of reminding me of Animal Crossing a little bit, where I'm waking up in the morning and I've got my chores. So I'm only like 2 or 3 days into the in-game time, but I'm currently waking up and saying, right, I'm going to go and do my job first. I'm going to go and do the log chopping, right? And that's quite fun to do. And then I go, right, okay, now I'm going to train. I'm going to train using these mini games. The whole horse stance thing, the 1-inch punch stuff, and sparring. I'm going to do lots of sparring. And then towards the end of the day, I'm going to fight and try and build up where I am in the sort of league standings in the martial arts centre and stuff like that. And I'm sort of going to bed and then doing that again. And it is a bit repetitive for sure, but I'm quite enjoying that loop of just seeing what happens throughout the day. Funnily enough, the first gate that you come to, which is in terms of progression, which is that you have to fight a certain someone, and I lost that first battle because I think mainly because I was really hungry. I'll explain that later. And so I lost that battle and I thought, okay, right, so it's forcing me to start training up and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. Turns out it wasn't really. I had a really bad fight because someone in the stream said, no, go and fight him again. And I was like, what, really? It feels like I need a few more days training before I go and fight him. But it was like, they were like, no, I did it first time. And I was like, okay. So I went back and kicked his ass. And I was like, okay. So it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. But okay, so positives. The wood chopping's great. Mainly for the music, and it's quite fun.
When the music kicks in, when you nail it, it's quite...
Yeah. The fighting's not as bad as I thought it would be, based on what you were saying last week. I'm quite enjoying the fighting.
It gets better once you start figuring out more moves, and then you start to think how to use them.
The whole sparring thing is fucking weird. And I'll tell you why. Because, right, so Matt, when you're sparring, you are learning moves. Right. And someone had to explain to me that the move shows up at the bottom left, and then during the fight, a quick time event flashes up. And it says, like, press X, press it. And I thought that quick time event was telling you what to press. But it's going into it, like, it's already told you what to press. Yeah. So it's not doing that at all. It's just saying, do it now. Now's when you've got to do that move. And if you hit it enough, you learn that move, right? Is that correct,
That's correct, yeah.
Right, okay. The problem is, there's a delay on when it accepts your input, isn't there? Yeah. So the moment that QTE comes up, if you start pressing the input, it won't register. Mm-hmm. You have to wait for it to sort of flash a couple of times, and then you've got to press it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, what I've done with that, I don't ignore those QTEs, but you can just keep practicing the move anyway, like even without having to do the QTE stuff, and it still registers it as being like you're mastering it, if you see what I mean.
Oh, what, during the actual fight itself?
Yeah, just during the fight, you can just keep doing it. I mean, like there's one that's like a kick, which is like, I think it's like XX, like square or something like that, and then you just keep pressing it over and over again. And
I think what it is, why I don't like that system is that it's not very intuitive, especially when the QT comes up, because you don't know the exact moment to start pressing that combo, mm-hmm. and that then leads to you thinking, oh well, I got a slow result for that, because I didn't really know when to press it. And I found that a little bit frustrating. But no, I mean, the atmosphere, it's beautiful to look at, the game. Yeah, the environment is just absolutely stunning.
Have you found that weird thing though with the faces? Like how some of them look quite good, but some of them look awful.
Some of them are like really cartoony, and some of them are. I tell you what is weird. You know that you meet very early on. It's not really explained, but the woman humming.
Yeah,
there's like an old woman in a workshop humming.
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean? What?
It sounds like you wanted to tell me something that held back. What then, James? What's going through your head?
Absolutely nothing at all. Go on.
Right. Okay.
What happens to her?
You actually kick her head off at one point when you press the wrong QTE. The humming is fucking weird if you're wearing headphones, man. I don't know what they're doing with the audio recording in this, but it is fucking freaky because sometimes it's just really clear. It feels like
am I detecting some AM ASMR?
No, not at all. It's not relaxing at all. But one thing with ASMR is they do this special type of audio recording. What is it called? I can't remember. It's not ambient recording or something, but basically they're microphones that look like ears, so they collect sound in a very specific way that makes everything sound more realistic, right? Have you not heard of this, Matt?
No.
Right, I'll find out the name for it and whack some headphones on and watch some example videos, and it is crazy. You're
not talking about like the 3D audio stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
It's not 3D audio. 3D audio is where you move your head and the sound moves with the movement of your head.
I'm talking about the demos. It doesn't matter what headphones you have. You can have like super basic, headphones, but it's still you can hear sound moving from up and down, left and right. I've seen demos of that on YouTube. Is that what you're talking about?
We might be talking about the same thing, but the technology I'm talking about doesn't do that. It's just the way the audio is collected and reverbs around, essentially a fake ear wax. It sounds like they're using that, which means when you're playing this game with headphones, there are certain sounds that sounds like it literally sounds like someone's whispering in your ear, and it's like and that. That humming from that woman proper sounded like she was sitting behind me, and it freaked me the fuck out.
There's also, what do you think of the music, like that weird stuff I said about that, like how it cuts in and out, like from time to time?
I've not really noticed that. Actually.
Have you not?
I've not really noticed that.
No, that really bothers me. Every time it happens, it really bothers me.
I am actually really enjoying the music in this. Like one of my biggest complaints with Shenmue 2 is that the music is fucking terrible. Like in Shenmue 1, it's fantastic. In 2, it was dog shit. And in 3, it's way better, way better.
Although it's mostly remixes, I think. Like I don't know if they recorded.
Yeah, which is
stuff.
fine. Is fine, but it just sounds good to listen to. Another negative side of the game is the eating mechanic, which is what I was speaking about earlier. So
get your garlic.
You've got a health bar now, which you've never had. Well, you have had in the combat in the previous Shenmue games, but now it's up all the time, right? And that health bar progressively goes down. The only way to get your health back is by eating. But it's kind of like what I was saying about Shenmue 2, where it feels like you've never quite got enough money to make sure your inventory's filled up with food. And a lot of the food is just like, it gives you half... Like, what is it? So it's made up of about 15... circles, isn't it?
Although that expands the more training you do. Like it gets bigger and bigger, like how much you can have. But then also a lot of the food is not like, if you buy like vegetables and stuff, garlic is amazing. That's the thing you want to buy all the time.
Yeah, but that's the problem. So Ryu's walking around this new town just shoving in garlic
just
into his face
garlic, because the other stuff's worthless because you don't get like anything out of it at all. Like it's like it'll like.
Well, I do whenever I go to a new town. I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be like, I wish they would have worked that into the conversation.
Well, that's what they said. Like she sits like Shenhua sits so far away from him, like at the table, because it's just like he just reeks like all the time.
Also, she's always cooking, but you never see him eating the dinner. Like on the first night I come in, she was cooking. She was saying, "I'm cooking you a lovely meal," and I was like, "Okay,
where is it?"
Then I just thought, there's nothing else to do here, so I'm just going to bed. So I've just basically fobbed her off. There's a lot of fucking people off as well in this game, and there's that the martial arts teacher in the actual village. that's like, I am an expert in my field. You'll be lucky to train with me. Like, and like Rio's like, yeah,
like
right,
afterwards,
mate.
after you've like done sparring with him, and he's like, I bet it was great to like fight with a master like me, and he's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I met that character you were talking about last week who's clearly jealous of your relationship. There are some memorable characters here. So far, I've had the woman that is absolutely petrified of you, like the sort of older woman that's petrified of you. I think that's so funny. Like, you go up to her and go, hi, how you doing? What? What do you want? All that sort of stuff. That's pretty funny. The guy that's jealous of you because it's just you didn't play with the English vocals on, did you? Did you see that bit in my game?
I've not seen that bit yet.
Like the expression in the voice when he changes from talking to you to talking to her is just hilarious. You got to check that out. And also I like the gossip woman that keeps like going, keeps mentioning, it should be really sad if anything's happened to you. Oops, did I say too much? I like those characters. There's fun.
Also, have you also come across? There's like most of these like older women in it are like all fancy him. And are all just like trying to chat.
No, I've not come across any of that.
You'll see later on. It's like it happens constantly. It's like you just start talking to someone and they're like, why don't you come back to my place and all this kind of thing. It's really weird and inappropriate.
But I like that stuff. But I will say this: when I'm not playing it, I want to play it, and I'm kind of gutted I'm streaming it because I just want to sit down and play it. But I know that I can't do that. Like tomorrow night. I'd love to sit down and play it, but I know Sean's streaming, so I won't be able to do so. Which is a shame, I think, because I am actually. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe that's working in its favour that I'm being held off from playing it. I really don't think it's going to be a great streaming game because it looks like this loop is going to go on for a long time.
There's also, one of the things you said, like how you didn't like about Shenmue 2, like like the way that it like gates things with money, like that does happen in this, honestly. And it's like it's not shame. Disastrously so, but it is a bit irritating. Like,
well, I think the difference is that the way I'm earning money at the moment chopping wood is actually fun to do. Like, it's a cool little mini game. Whereas in Shenmue 2, it was lift that crate and go left, right. We're putting it down. That was awful. It was awful. Whereas actually, I do like playing the chopping mini game in this. So yeah, maybe it's all right. And that music, man, is so good. The way it cuts out, like when you fuck up, and it goes to that sort of like that nice gentle music. But then when like you hit a perfect, it's like.
Have you got to get to the third stage of music?
No,
there's a third stage. Because my top score at the moment, I think, was 107. Like for that. And it like after you get past, I think it's past 100. If you just keep nailing like very good, like constantly, it then takes it up a notch, like to an even like
Okay,
I can't
wait to do that.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it more than I ever did Shenmue 2, which is exciting. But I am concerned about how long that feeling is going to last for. Like maybe it'll start getting frustrating. I don't know. But at the moment, it feels, as I say, it feels more Animal Crossing than anything else. Where I would wake up and go, do you know what? I've got my routine. I'm going to do my routine, and I know by the end of it, my numbers will go up. And I'm quite happy to do that.
That's what I'm worried about, though. With like you said about playing it on stream, that is part of the problem because like I'm playing it. And I'm not rushing it at all. Like I'm just thinking I'm just going to play a bit here and there, when I want to. But if you're playing on stream, you can't do that. You've got to like be super focused.
No, I think I can.
Really?
I think I can. Yeah, because there's not a weird vibe. There's a nice vibe from people listening. Like it feels like we're having a nice chat as well as this game is going on. There's all sorts of chat going on in the chat while I'm streaming. And most people seem to be really into it. So it is quite a nice sort of relaxing way to play the game. I don't feel pressured to move on for entertainment. I feel like everyone's on board with me and they're getting into the whole. And I didn't do it on Saturday night when I streamed because I was really tired. But I am going to do the horse dance whenever I'm doing the horse dance mini game.
That's a good idea.
Because it's just I've got to get better at that because I looked at my posture when I did it last time and it was fucking shocking. And I just want to get to the point where I've completed the game and I've got legs like Simon Miller, basically. That's the plan. Yeah, so not hating it. Surprisingly not hating it so far. It's just... It's a strange one, man. There's part of me thinking that they really should have modernised a lot more. I mean, it's nice to have that nostalgia, but if you want the series to continue, they were going to have to do a lot more than this. You know what I mean? It seems short-sighted to go for that nostalgia.
I'm just thinking again about that thing with the food and how annoying it can be. Like, if you haven't got any food on you, and then, like, you know, like when it's on yellow, and if you run, it then just depletes down to red, and then you're done, like, really quickly.
Yeah, and then you can't run. It's not a game over screen, you just can't run anymore.
It's quite annoying, isn't it? Because sometimes you can be quite far from somewhere where you can buy food, and then you just have to walk there, and it can take quite a long time sometimes, which is
I've not been caught out.
This is why we stock up on garlic like all the time, so that you're always it's never a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, not awful. I did the turtle racing. Yeah. That was fucking great. That seems. Have you lost yet?
Not the turtle racing. No, I've not lost any of those.
Yeah, it seems like a really ridiculous way to make money.
There's
there's
another one later actually that is even more ridiculous in terms of making money, which you may need to know, like in terms of having to raise money quickly. I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, it's quite good.
You can't be that far ahead of me. You were. What'd you put, like 6 hours?
Probably about. I don't know, maybe about 7 or 8 hours. I think now, probably.
Okay.
I mean,
more.
I'm currently up to this bit where I'm stuck actually at the moment because I'm not stuck, but I'm on a section which involves like catching chickens, and it's just ridiculous bullshit QTEs, which have annoyed me because it's like they flash up and there's not like it feels like, you know, like with the fighting where it feels like there's a bit of a lag or delay. It's the same kind of thing with this, and it's a bit annoying. It's like you've got a time limit.
That's annoying.
That's annoying.
Have you done much of herb stuff?
I've been collecting them, and then I've been selling them. Like if you sell combinations, you get more money for them and stuff. But
oh, you sell them? I thought you mix potions.
No. You can sell them at the shop, and certain combinations can get you like much more money. Have you found the maps yet that they've got lying around?
Oh yeah, I got both the maps.
There's more. I mean, later on you'll find there's more as well because where you're up to at the moment, you haven't unlocked the entire village yet. Like there's actually quite a lot more areas for you to explore.
Yeah, no, I assumed it was going to open up a little bit more.
And there's one bit which has got one of my favourite bits of music from Shenmue in it. It's like it just sounds horrible, but in a really good way. Which is have you been to the old temple yet? Like the abandoned temple. Okay, when you go there, unfortunately they change it after events happen, but when you first go there, it's got this really like sort of, I don't know, I find it quite chilling music. Like you'll hear, it just sounds horrible.
Yeah, I haven't done much exploring. I'm just sticking to my routine so far. So
it's good.
We'll see. Maybe I'll wake up one day and want to go exploring. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I've been playing this week. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Which is a good sign. James, have you got anything else on your list?
Yeah, I've got quite a few things actually. I mean, I've played. Okay, so thanks to Rafi, like one of the listeners, I played on Stadia this week because he sent me the buddy pass.
Here we go. Strap in.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, Bo, because
who would have thought that James would have played on Stadia before Matt Murray? The way things turn out.
To do.
Go on.
But it is. I mean, the thing is, right? Straight up from the beginning, it generally works kind of fine. Although the experience that I've had,
genuinely works kind of fine. There's a lot of
stick that on the box.
Genuinely works kind of fine. James finally sees it. Yes.
Because you see, I'm having to play it. I'm having to play it on Chrome, because it's obviously I'm not playing it through because I haven't got like a Chromecast Ultra or whatever. So I'm just playing it on Chrome through my MacBook. And it's kind of suboptimal on there, and I'm also playing it via like Wi-Fi, not like wired or anything. And so the performance isn't very good. I mean, I'd say that it's probably the performance is about as good as when I stream like my PS4 across the internet with Remote Play. or if I'm using like PS Now on PlayStation 4. This is the thing that has surprised me the most.
What sort of connection you got there, James?
I've got about 38 down, I think, which is...
Fucking hell.
Well, no, it's enough for it to be in, like, supposedly in good quality settings. Like, it's supposed to be, like, quite good. But I live in the countryside, so that's the best I can get. But it's, like, apparently it works a lot better if you're...
poor thing.
Eh?
Nothing, carry on.
What do you say, Matt?
I said, you poor thing.
Okay. But the thing is I did... yeah. I did try it at university as well, which has obviously got, like, significant...
Well, like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Doesn't work, Matt.
James, you're not in the mood today, are you, mate?
That one didn't work.
Can you cheer up a little bit?
That one didn't. Well, no, because this. I mean, I don't. The thing is, talking about Stadia is a bit difficult because I haven't had an amazing experience with it. I can also see why people think it's good, but I also cannot understand why people would think that this is any better than anything that's come before. Because from my experience so far that I've had with this, it's really not. It's about, as I said, it's about the same as what I've had with PlayStation Now, like on PS4. I don't see anything which is showing me that this is like significantly better at all. I mean, it's occasionally unplayable, and the lag does make it feel like much worse when you play, like when I played Destiny 2. I mean, I sent you some screenshots of like you're playing and then suddenly it will just like keep flashing up and saying, oh, you know, your connection's not good enough or whatever. And like as I said, I played this, you know, I tried this also like at university as well, where the connection there is like really, really fast. It's like, you know, like really, really good connection. And it's the same, like things don't work so well. I've heard that it works a lot better on Chromecast Ultras than it does on like playing through Chrome. But it's just, I mean, some of the things that I was hoping it was going to do, it doesn't do. Like, I was under the impression, and this is obviously something that, since the theme's written in, is maybe impossible, I don't know, which was that when I played, like, Samurai Showdown, I assumed that, like, if, you know, I thought that if I stopped playing the game, that later on, if I went back, like, 5 minutes later to go and play again, it would resume where I'd left off. It doesn't do that. It just starts from scratch again, like, right from the beginning. And that kind of...
That means you're just holding up a server, though, isn't it?
Well, that's... I don't know. I don't know how... I have absolutely zero idea it works, so I can't like speculate on it. But it's just... That was one of the things that surprised me. The UI isn't great. Like, you have to do everything is done through the app. Like, you have to... If you want to add games to it, you can't do it even through the web browser. Like, you open your web browser...
Yeah, but that's a beta stage.
Yeah, it's
thing,
just really
it?
weird.
You will be able to
and
do
then
that.
also, like, after every time you stream...
So on that, so in terms of browser, what you go to stadia.com, do you, and you log in
Yeah, with your
Google account,
yeah.
and you see, like, a bunch of, like, games. You can't select
You don't
one
see
in
any
to play.
games. You don't see anything unless you've added them on the Stadia app on your phone. Like, when you first load it up, there's nothing there, like, at all. You're just like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And then you're like, oh, I need to, like, open the app on my phone and I've got to add the games. And it's a bit like with Xbox Live Gold and, like, PlayStation Plus, in that you have to, like, consciously go in there and, like, click, like, that you want these games. They don't just automatically give them to you. You have to, like, select them. And then they get added to your library, and then when you open, like, the Chrome browser, they appear again. I mean, there are certain things with it I can understand why people are quite, like, excited about it, because it does feel quite cool to just, like, open a browser and then start the game, and then it, like, starts up, and it's like, it is reasonably fast. But then also, I've just honestly been shocked by the quality, by, like, how poor the quality is. Like, I mean, again, this is just through...
Does it do that thing that OnLive did, where it reminded me of, like, early digital TV,
Yes,
where it would go all,
it does
like...
that a lot. Like, that happens a lot. Like, I loaded up Farming Simulator, and it was, like, really pixelated when I first started it up. Now, the thing is, right, is a lot of this is obviously down to my internet connection, and the fact that I'm only doing this over, like, Wi-Fi, and I'm not playing it on, like, the Chromecast or whatever. But then I thought the point of this was that it was supposed to be better at doing this than any other solution that had come before. Like, it was supposed to be, they'd figured it out, it, like, was going to be totally, you know, it was going to work and everything. And fair enough, this is obviously a beta, but they should have said this was a beta, like, from the beginning. This is not anywhere near, like, ready. After every game that you finish playing, it flashes up a thing, like, with a survey to say, how was the connection? Like, how did it go? And it's like, you know, like when you're using, like, Skype, and it, like, after the end, it, like, keeps on saying, like, how was that call? And it's just like, that just feels a bit janky, you know? I mean, how would you feel, like, every time that you're playing a game on, like, your Xbox or whatever, and at the end it just kept on saying, how was that experience for you? Was that rubbish, or was it okay? It's just, that makes it feel like a beta, like, that, you know, that sort of stuff, which I don't think is great, considering the way it's been launched for, like, 130 quid or whatever, you know, like, as a...
I mean, I've still got those messages now on Skype. Every single Skype conversation has still got them, but
But that's the
I
thing.
mean, I don't bemoan them the fact that they are trying to get feedback. Like that shouldn't be a negative. They're trying to improve it.
Skype is free.
Yeah, but they're trying to improve it. Like,
but Skype is free, and it's also garbage. And it's also the fact that every time you load up Skype, there's a new update because they keep trying to fix it all the time because it doesn't work. And it's like and that's why this feels like that as well. Like this does not feel ready at all. And it also,
it doesn't fill you with confidence if you're constantly being asked if what you're doing is okay.
Yeah, it's just odd. It's really odd. And the thing is playing this has really made me feel that stuff like xCloud and everything is definitely the way to go, in the sense of making this like a value add rather than making this like this is how the games are going to be delivered. Because
it's an expensive value add, though. That's the problem that most companies are going to come across, is that these things are expensive to run. So just giving it away for free is not... it's not a viable option for a lot of companies.
And that's what I'm not sure how this is going to work, like long term, because I mean, the way that this works is that obviously you have to pay for the games, and I mean the games are ridiculous, like expensive. Like there's stuff on. I mean, they're expensive in the same way that they are like on other online stores, but because a lot of them are old, you're thinking, okay, I can get these in sales elsewhere or whatever. But the biggest problem this also have is that there isn't an existing library, which is really good, and there aren't any exclusives either that make you really think, I really want to play this. And like for the next gen, for things going forward, if xCloud and PlayStation Now, whatever, offer access to my existing library and everything, and also like new stuff that's coming, I don't know why anyone would bother with this. I don't see the point at all. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand. But I mean,
it's going to be a hard one to compete with.
Yeah, I mean,
xCloud.
It does work. It does work, but just not perfectly in the way. I mean, don't you remember all that stuff that we watched when they showed all those videos about like how and journalists saying like, oh, we tried it and we don't think it was because we were right next to Google's data center, but it worked better than anything I've ever used before and all this kind of thing. It's really not like that at all. And I know that this is down to internet connection. I know that, but this was still supposed to be better, and it's not better. It's not better than PlayStation Now, like from my experience, from using this.
Well, it's the same, isn't it? You said?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. And I think that's disappointing, to be honest, because it's supposed to be more than that. And it was billed as being more than that. That, like 4K, 60 frames a second, the whole thing, it's not that. It's, I'm a bit disappointed. But thank you, Rafi, for the code. Because it was it's worth giving a try. I mean, it's just that, like playing stuff like Destiny, it's like I was playing through that and I was just thinking, this is not how I'd really want to play this game, because it does do all like the artifacting and stuff like that, and you're just thinking, I'd rather play this on my console at the moment. And I understand there are people that are going to want this because then they don't have to buy a console, but it still is not a great experience, I don't think.
So you're at work, you would rather play this over if you had to play Destiny, you want to do a patrol or mission, you'd rather just play remote play than play over Stadia?
It's pretty much exactly the same. I'd say,
it's the same, yeah.
No, hold on, that makes total sense, because if you're playing over remote play, when you get home, you can play on your PlayStation without all of these hitches. Yeah. But if you're playing on Google Stadia, when you get home, you're using the same service.
Yeah. So yeah, in that case,
so it's going to have the same issues with it.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's
Not only that, like, is it true that I mean, I don't know this for, like, I'm not asking to be a dick, but is it true that take Destiny 2 for example, only Google Stadia users that play Destiny 2 can play with Google Stadia users playing Destiny 2?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
That's fucking madness.
You can do. Okay, your character, like, there's cross progression, so I was able to import my character from Destiny 2 on PS4, but you can't. Yeah, but then also, yeah,
can you switch that back?
No, it's just once you've activated that, it's just like that. Like, you can then use it across platforms if you want to.
Oh, that's
is handy, because then if I wanted to buy it, like in the future, if I want to play on like Xbox One X or whatever, then I can play on that. It's which is great. But then you're right, you can't.
Wait, that works between Xbox and PlayStation as well. Oh, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's really good. This is the kind of stuff that we're hoping. But the thing is you're right though. What this needs to be crossplay as well though, because there's no way that this looks as populated as like if I ever play it on any other platform.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's where I'd first heard about it. That people were waiting 10 minutes to get into raids and shit. Not raids, strikes and shit. That's a worry.
But at the moment, if I wanted to play games, I don't know why I'd want to play on this over just playing on a console. It's just, and especially when you see, over like the weekends, you could buy like an Xbox One S, couldn't you, for like less than £100, and it's like.
Yeah, it was crazy. The Black Friday discounts were mad. Like £84 was the lowest I saw one of those all digital versions.
And it's like, I would absolutely recommend that over this. Because I just, at least there's a whole ton of games. You get like Game Pass and things like that. There's more options. I don't know where this is going to go ultimately. It's it's weird.
Thing is, they're committed to a future. They're actually hiring people to make games for the fucking thing.
Yeah, but so did Gizmodo. Gizmodo. Yes, Gizmondo. Gizmodo is the site.
Gizmondo, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but they were relying on its success. Google actually got money to disappear on us. So
I don't know. I think we'll see what happens. But what the service absolutely needs, I still think, is exclusive games as well. Really good reasons to want to buy games on this over buying them on another platform. Because at the moment, I can't see what those are.
And ones that take advantage of what that system offers that traditional gaming doesn't.
But I don't know. Interesting. The other.
Is that the only good? So you played 2 games on it. You played Destiny and Farming
Simulator. I played Destiny 2. I played Tomb Raider. I played
Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, Samurai Showdown I played as well. And they're all.
Is the jump lag as bad as that video suggested?
In what?
Where he pressed the button and then put his hand out to point at the screen, and then Lara Croft jumped.
Did you say Lara Croft?
See, I didn't.
I did, yeah. Do you know what that is? That's listening to too many American podcasts. Because they all call her Laura over there, don't they?
Lara Croft.
No. I've got to stop listening to the Americans.
I never experienced anything that bad. But then it was, where it does that thing sometimes where it's like, it will suddenly go all glitchy, and then it's suddenly like caught up with where you were like a second ago or whatever. It did that quite a few times, but then the main thing was like just the artifacting and stuff. And as I keep saying, I know that I'm not playing this in like the optimal way, but then I think that's probably the point as well. Is that you're supposed to? The whole point of this is to play it on anything, and that does not work. I don't think very well. Yeah.
Oh dear. All right. Okay.
I've also played. I played 2 other games, which I'll go into like briefly. And one of them was Night Trap. I finished this on Friday night, and I did this with the help of a guide. Yeah.
Did you finish it?
I played through the whole thing with a guide, Dave, because it's impossible.
No, I watched. My favourite thing was you saying, "Look, I'm not really happy playing this with a guide, but it's impossible to play without a guide." And I was like, yeah, fair play. And then someone said, well, you should just pause. You could pause and then do the next thing. And you went, no, that is cheating. There's no way I'm pausing. Within 5 seconds, you were pausing.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous game, like in terms of that. Cause...
Yeah, but you didn't even try it. It was on your first run through with a guide, and you just paused.
No, I did that.
And just went, oh, no, hold on.
That's because I started to get tense. It is ridiculous, though. You see, what's funny about it? It's one of the strangest experiences I've had playing a game, because it's like, there is a story to follow, but it's impossible to do so because you're constantly having to be aware of what's going on around you, like the fact that these things are like invading the house.
Well, yeah, but I think the idea was that they wanted people to just not like instantly try and complete the game, but actually spend some time watching some of that stuff as well. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing, because after, like, I've actually gone and I've watched the whole thing, like, afterwards, because it was on YouTube, like, somebody cut together, like, the whole thing as, like, a film instead. It's dreadful. Like, it's really bad. And it's like, I don't feel that I missed much, actually, in the way that I played it at all, because it was pretty terrible. And,
I've got to say, watching you stream it I had a lot of respect for that game. Genuinely. Mainly because, fucking hell, the idea, the concept is actually pretty damn good. To discover a story this way, but then also have to keep an eye on trying to progress it. It reminded me of, this is awful, but it did remind me of like Her Story. It was like an interesting new way of showing a narrative. Mm-hmm. All right, granted, the narrative was shit and it didn't really work, but I think like the concept was pretty wild for the time, right?
But this is what's odd about it, because it's not very good at all, but I did still kind of enjoy playing it, which is what's just odd about it, because it's
have nothing to do with the ladies running around in their 90s.
Nothing to do with that whatsoever. It's that was a distraction, if anything. It's to stop you from stop you finishing stuff. Wasn't that good? But But either way, I was
James
glad that I got
Farley.
through it, and now the next game I'm doing the LA Noire VR case files on,
I'm so
which
up for that.
hopefully will be good because that was.
Please have a bit of fun with it rather than just try and play the game. Just, fuck around a bit. I want to see you muck about in the VR stuff. Because you didn't really do that for the patient.
No, because that was horrific.
You were just focused on. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, slap some people about, all that sort of shit.
I'll try.
Have some fun with the game for once, James, because I don't think you've ever had fun with any of the games you've streamed.
That's not true. I did enjoy having fun with Heavy Rain of like just dialing it up every time to like just being aggressive. I did enjoy that. That was fun.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good. Okay, cool. And what was the
only
other
game I played was is Forma 8. Have you heard of this? Probably not. Okay,
No.
So what this is a game that I bought ages ago on Switch. You know, like when the Switch was first out and there wasn't a lot of stuff. And this was one of those games that like came out and it was quite cheap. And so I bought it because it was a Metroid-style game. But the twist is that you're like this sort of like floating probe that moves in like all directions, like around this sort of like massive world that you like crash into. And
pretty shit twist.
Yeah, well, that's the way they design it, whatever. But anyway, it follows the same structure as like most of the like Metroid style games. Like, so you get like the acquisition of upgrades, get through the areas. It's the usual kind of thing. But the biggest problem with it is that it's completely directionless. Like with most of the games that I play like this, it's pretty clear like what not clear what your objectives are, but what the story is and what you're trying to achieve. With this, I have no idea what I was trying to achieve through most of the game. It really was just exploration, which is fine, but it was also not particularly enjoyable to play. I thought it was
not fun to play.
It's just. It was just like the lack of instruction or any background as to what you're supposed to be doing that really killed it for me. And I got right to the end, and it was really a case of like, is that it? Like at the end, I just thought this is really aimless, and I don't know why I played it. But it is, again, it's the thing that I love the most in these sorts of games, which is like it had really fantastic atmosphere, and that's what kept me like playing with it because it looks really really great. But it's just a 6 or 7 out of 10 game, and I'd struggle to recommend it. It was fine, but not great.
Fair enough.
That's a shame.
Okay, Matt, what you got?
I've only really been playing Sekiro, and that was only on Sunday. It's been a busy old
Have
week.
you not got back to Death Stranding? You said you wanted to go back to Death Stranding.
No, I was busy this week. I will get back to it, but I just haven't. But
another hard stream this week, Matt. I watched it on my way home, and
I'm on the edge.
It looked like you just wanted to give up now.
Yeah, I was not in the right mindset at all on Sunday. I just couldn't be arsed. I always look forward to and love streaming. Sunday nights are great, but it's just like I very, very much have hit the wall with this boss, Genichiro. And
you did, and you spent an hour fighting him, and then said, "Okay, is there another boss that I could go and fight?" There is. Okay, let me go and fight that boss, and then it was an hour of getting your ass kicked on that as well.
It wasn't quite an hour, but yeah, I was like, "There's another boss there."
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I don't know. Anyway, either way, there was another boss. Although that other boss does seem easier. But yeah, I'm not gonna quit because I don't like quitting, but I really want to, but I'm not gonna. And I watched a couple of more guys today, and I was like, I guess we pumped to play it, and I'm gonna try and play a bit more in the week, not just historically what I've done with, say, when I was streaming Dark Souls and Bloodborne, is that in the week I wouldn't be playing the game. I'd just be like, okay, doing some farming or practicing on one particular element. But I'm just going to play a bit of the game, get a bit more into it, start to enjoy it a bit more before I come back on Sunday, because it's just it's a wall to my enjoyment. I have loved playing this game up to now, but it's just like this Genichiro thing. As much as this fight is clearly very, very good, I'm just really struggling to defeat him. So
how long before you actually declare it to be a bit shit?
How long until it declares a bit shit?
Well, like that boss fight, because you keep saying, "Oh no, it's a really good fight. I'm really, the fight's great, but I'm really struggling with it." But every time I see you stream, it looks like you just want to go, "This is fucking bullshit," and I hate it.
It's not bullshit. I mean, I'm bullshit. That's the thing. It's not the game. I'm just like it's a lot to sort of get my head around and piece together and actually focus on during the fight, not just panic, not just button mash. I will get there and I will get over it. It's just this feels way harder than than Dark Souls or Bloodborne. Those, I mean, obviously we had Ornstein and Smoke. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, but with those, even when I was struggling, I was enjoying it. And Sunday, I was like, this just isn't fun. It's probably not fun to watch. It's not fun to play. It's not like a great end to Sunday. I was like, why am I doing this? But I'm gonna try and play in a week and just play it to enjoy it, and then hopefully that'll get me pumped for Sunday. Watch some more guides, do what I need to do to, try a bit more on Sunday. Maybe go some other places. I felt like what I learned so much during Bloodborne was actually, if I was struggling at something, go elsewhere, level up, do what you need to do, and come back. You could do that in Bloodborne. You could actually also do it in Dark Souls, although arguing in Dark Souls I didn't learn. I spent 8 hours on Ornstein and Smough, then couldn't beat him, and then just summoned. But I really should have gone away and just farmed and leveled up. You could do that in Bloodborne, and I did that. But in this you can't really, you can farm, but you can only really sort of farm skills, I believe. There are these sort of these gourds. Is like if you collect 4 of these things, that increases, I think, like the amount of health you have, and also potentially your damage ability. But it's not quite farming in the same way. You can just in Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
What, so you can't make your attacks more powerful?
Well, yeah, and basically you can get these. I'm going to get it wrong. Basically, there's these. If you collect 4 of these things, I think they may be seeds, you give it back to this other dude, and you have more health and potentially more attack power. But most of those are actually hidden behind mini bosses. But it's not like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where you could just farm, and keep leveling up, max out every single skill, max out your weapons. It's not like that, sadly. I mean, maybe for the better, I don't know. So I was going to play in the week, try and get my head back into it. Because the worst thing about Sunday is, it wasn't just like I was struggling. I've been struggling for, I think that's the 3rd stream. So I did basically I've done 2 full streams trying to kill Genichiro, and then 3 or 4 attempts on another stream. But it's that's still 4-ish hours. I'm just not enjoying it. At least when I was in Bloodborne and Dark Souls, I was still enjoying the fight and the struggle. And I feel like I'm going backwards. It's a lot to get my head around. And also, what I typically do with Dark Souls and Bloodborne is that I will struggle for so long that actually, when I actually do defeat the boss, it's not satisfying. It's just embarrassing, and I just want to sort of move on quickly. So I'm not even sure if I'm really going to get the satisfaction. I mean, I'm sure in that second I'll be like, "Come on, I did it!" But I feel like I just want to get it over. But I'll get there. I will get there. I'm just Sunday was tough. It was a bad one on Sunday.
I think I'm kind of done with those games, man. I don't think I could go back to another Souls-like game, because it just, I had that moment already of beating Dark Souls, and that was wonderful. It was such a wonderful feeling, and I don't think that can be recaptured. I think there might be a reason why the first Souls game you play seems to be your favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Bloodborne was excellent, but yeah, Dark Souls is a special one. That's the first one I played, and it had a vibe. And I thought Bloodborne was excellent. I'm really glad I played that. I thought the combat was really different, so I really appreciated how different it was, different systems compared to Dark Souls. This is different again, and I do appreciate that, but I feel like it feels like a step beyond. I mean, maybe I just need to get my head in the game a bit more. I've had good fights in this, and it's amazing when you have a fight to and throwing and whatnot, but this is just a wall that I can't get over right now, but I will do. It's just Sunday was very, very tough, and I was like, I just can't be bothered.
See,
can't be bothered with
I know
this.
what you mean, because this is why I didn't go back to it, because I didn't even get as far as you with this, and I just felt like you, Dave, as well. I thought, I don't need this at the moment.
Yeah, I don't need to put myself through it again. Yeah,
but part of me likes that. It's just that now it's maybe gone too far.
Part of me likes it as well, definitely. But it just gets to the point where it's kind of like, okay, what new experience am I getting out of this? That's the thing that I'm struggling to find, because it's not like it's got a story up front to sort of follow. Because a lot of that stuff is nuanced, and I'm not. That's not a criticism, because I think that is a fantastic way of doing it. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of Dark Souls. It's just without that sort of feedback, what am I getting out of playing another really, really hard game that I'm banging my head against the wall to progress through. And like, what am I getting?
But the thing I'm getting is
this?
I'm getting like immense satisfaction when I overcome a huge challenge. And
whoa, you've just said that you're not getting that.
Well, no, because I can't get over it. That's the thing. I know.
No, you just said when I beat a boss, I'm embarrassed and I'm not getting that satisfaction out of it.
No. I'm not. Basically, I'm still really like, okay, proud I got over it. But that's what it is. It's like constant treadmill trying to get over the next challenge and not being defeated by these things. But I'm just saying, I'm getting so defeated and so like embarrassed by like failing so badly. Everyone's like, no, don't worry about that. You're doing well. I'm like, but But so we'll go on to the next challenge. It's about that. But right now I'm like just immense. I'm just struggling. I'm like, how am I going to get over this?
I'm just confused. Like you've just been saying that you've not been getting a satisfaction out of it, but you're saying you're playing it for that satisfaction.
Yeah,
so what are you getting out?
Because I know that satisfaction will come. I know, like, okay, awesome, I did it. But I'm not like, come on, because I'm almost like too embarrassed to like properly. I did it after fucking 17 hours of trying. I mean, loads of people, when I've been streaming this and also in a week, they've been tweeting me saying, oh yeah, the Genichiro I spent 8 hours on this, or the last boss I spent 16 hours on that. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. That's a lot in it for one boss. But other people, I mean, like, so today I tweeted something along the lines of like, I didn't beat Genichiro. The only thing that was like beating was like my desire to play the game again, or words to that effect. And people are like, no, just stick at it. You can do this. I think it's the worst thing I actually think about is I know I can do it. I know I
can. You do you?
Well, no, I know. Right? The first two phases I can do. And actually, one time I got to that of like using one like health like health gourd, whatever. I know I can. I just need to string everything together and focus and not fuck up.
But every time you've got to the third phase, it kills you in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, so but that's the thing. I just need to get to that third phase, learn it, but the thing is, I know I can do it. I know the first two phases, I know I can do if I really put my mind to it and don't fuck up and don't make mistakes. And that's like what is so good about it. Is like you really have to be on the edge, and like very few games give you that sort of that feeling of that sensation of you really have to be on it to defeat it. I'm sure people listening who are like really good at these games are like, well, no, just stop jumping around like a twat, Matt, and you can get it done. But yeah, it's sometimes it's tough. But I'll fucking hell. I'm not going to quit, even if I want to. I'm not going to quit.
James, is he going to quit?
No, he won't. He's not going to give up. I'm certain.
Okay. No, there should probably be a sweepstakes of when is he going to finish it though. Like that'd be fascinating. If we get all the listeners involved as well, there should be a sweepstakes.
Yeah, because I think my game clock is 25 hours or something. It feels like I'm 2 minutes into the game. It feels like I'm barely really progressed. But I think it's 25 hours. So
do you know how far into it you are, like in terms of number of bosses?
No, I don't know. I'm sure I'm barely into it. But yeah, I think like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I think it took me like 60 hours each, 60-ish hours. This is giving way longer, given how long I've struggled on this. But I hope I'm gonna play in a week. I think will give me some, some positive sort of thoughts about the game, and it'll get me cheered. And even just watching the guide today, you know what, I want to get back on this. Like watching this guide, it's just piecing it together. It's a lot for my little brain to handle, especially as someone who mashes buttons and panics.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But I will get through it because as much as I'm like embarrassed, there will be like, I did it. I got past Genichiro, on to the next thing. Anyway, that's all.
You need to. I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to go out and buy Luigi's Mansion, just to counter that. Because
yeah,
you need to play that game.
That's gonna be my Christmas game, I think. Well, I've got loads of Christmas games. It's a good one. Busy old Christmas.
It is. Right. Okay. Is that it?
That's
Let's do emails and tweets. Matt, are you doing both?
Yeah, I'll do them. Let's go on to emails. It's podcast at thecomputergameshow.com if you want to email us. We'll start with Stephen Perdue. Hi, gents. Long time, first time, etc. Love the show. Was a PS4 and Switch guy this gen, but I just picked up an Xbox One X with Game Pass Ultimate and was wondering what you would recommend I've missed from Microsoft this gen. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to the Gotti show. Keep a natural yod.
God,
the thing is,
Forza Horizon.
Get
that shit played.
Absolutely.
It's just honestly, get that played. Just sit down and spend like a week just running through it. Even if you don't like racing games, just go exploring in it. It's just so much fun to drive around in that game, and it looks stunning. It'll show off what your X can do. That is the first game you need to play. Both 3 and 4 are worth playing. They're fantastic games. I mean, I've not played that Lego add-on yet for 4.
Oh, yeah, that looked fantastic as well.
I might get that soon. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, boy.
Master Chief Collection, I think from this week. In fact, maybe by the time we listen to this, Reach would have been added as well to Master Chief Collection.
Well, yeah, and the online stuff, if you played Halo on the 360, if you had a 360, then that is a pretty stunning way to play the game, because it just flicks you, like, there are playlists where it just like puts you in various different Halo games. Like, you could play Halo 1 minute, and then it puts you on 3 and all that sort of stuff. That's great.
I thought Gears 5 was excellent this year. James, did you play that? James?
We played a bit.
We played it together, didn't we, in co-op?
Did you ever finish it?
Yeah, no, we need to go back to
finish it.
No.
I thought it was fantastic this year.
Yeah, I really want to go back to it. It's just, it's been when we first did our co-op, it was just before the big rush, wasn't it, James? So I'm sure, like, during a quiet period early next year, we can hammer through that, because I really want to go back to it. But yeah, no, what I played of it was really good fun. I'm just trying to think some of the early ones.
Quantum Break.
Unfortunately, I mean, initially the big exclusive for that console was Titanfall, but that went multi-platform in the end, and it's really old now. But
there's Ori in the Blind Forest if you're into like Metroidvanias.
Yep, Cuphead, but then you've got Switch, so maybe you're playing it on that.
Sunset Overdrive, that's another one. I never actually played that.
Are you on Games Radar as well, Matt?
Yes. Yeah. Next one I would say is Forza Horizon 4.
Crackdown 3 is worth playing.
I enjoyed that game.
Yeah, so did I.
Right.
Are worth playing.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, thinking about exclusives, it hasn't really killed it this year. I mean, there's Sea of Thieves, I guess. There's
it hasn't killed it the whole generation, though, has it?
Right. I was thinking that. I was thinking of exclusive when I saw this email. If you've got if you've got 3 friends that also have an Xbox, download Sea of Thieves. You'll have one good week on it. You'll have one very good week on it. Because when we initially played that, it was really good fun. Just getting the boat to work.
It's quite unique, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It was really, really good fun for about a week, and then we fell off of it. So I would definitely say load up Sea of Thieves, because it's, I mean, if you've got Game Pass anyway, you might as well. It's just after that. Don't expect it to be, the next game that you're going to spend like a year on or whatever.
Some people have said
that, we've only played it in the launch period, so it's hard to sort of. We don't know how much it's changed since then.
It's probably an entirely different game now.
No.
Have you just fallen off a cliff, Dave?
Yeah, I jumped. It was. I was listening to the Player One podcast, and they were talking about an update that recently come out, and one of the things on the update was you can now pour a bucket of sick over your own head now
to put out the fire.
I was like,
it's
okay,
like you can put yourself out. You sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much it's changed, but if you go into it knowing that you're not going to spend the rest of your life on it, like those games want you to, then I think you'll have a cracking few nights on it, definitely.
Also, you've got Game Pass Ultimate. There are tons of games out on that constantly, so yeah. Just
plenty to play.
Definitely. Right, here's another Xbox related email from James Turner. Hey guys, cheers for the advice last week about getting a Pro X. A Pro X? I guess. Anyway, I've decided to save for one of the next-gen consoles, but we're very curious as to which one I'll get at launch. I'm leaning towards the PS5 at the moment, but I'm curious about what Microsoft come up with, along with Halo Infinite and Game Pass. Given what we know now about next-gen, what are you guys considering next year, or this year, actually, I presume? Oh no, next year, when they're unleashed on us. Thanks again for the great podcast. It makes a long commute to work even more bearable, or more than bearable. Fucking hell.
It's obvious what you two are going for. Like, there's no way that you're not going to go for whatever Microsoft are doing, yeah?
Well, I mean, I kind of haven't got a choice. So the group of friends that I play games with regularly, quite a few of those are nowhere as hardcore. Well, that's arguable. That's arguable. That's
Debatable.
When I say they're nowhere near as hardcore as us, is they haven't got the same playing habits as us, where they play everything that comes out. They tend to pick a game and stick with it for a long time, and they're kind of just. They don't care about owning both consoles, so they just stick with what they know. We all know that they're going to go Xbox next time, and last time I made the mistake of getting a PS4 instead of an Xbox and had to buy the other console much earlier than I should have done. I should have gone Xbox straight away, because although the PS4, when they first come out, the PS4 was so insanely better than the Xbox. My mate stuck with the Xbox, so yeah, that's kind of this. I'm not making a mistake this year. I'm just going to get the Xbox straight away. Assuming that that's what they all do, that's what I'll have to do as well.
I mean, what I'll do is,
Matt, where do you sit? Because you don't really play with us much anymore.
I'll get whichever one comes out first and get the one after that.
So look at Matt. Moneybags Matt.
I'm just saving up already.
Just got both day one.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to get just one right now, I guess I go Xbox with like the Game Pass value proposition and stuff. Because that's my main console now. I have like PlayStation for exclusives, and I'm playing everything else on Xbox. But I will get both because I'm a massive idiot.
I will say that, knowing what we know now, if we take this as a snapshot into time, you'd be a madman to go PlayStation, because we don't know anything about the PlayStation. We know quite a lot about the direction of the Xbox, so it's a bit of a weird question to answer because we don't know what Sony's moves are.
I got absolutely ripped last year for this, Dave, when I said, go on, James.
We don't know any more about the Xbox than we know about the PlayStation. Like, all we know is that there's. We know that Game Pass exists.
We know that services are fucking brilliant.
we know that Game Pass exists, but that's the only thing. Like, hardware-wise, we know more about the PlayStation we do about the Xbox.
We do, but we don't know how that is being utilised and what it's going to offer.
Yeah.
Like, we know that the next Xbox is going to have that backwards compatibility stuff, right? And that everything that you bought is going to carry over. Do we know that about the next
PlayStation?
Not for
100%, but I would say I'd be amazed if it doesn't, but this is
I'll be shocked if it isn't.
Yeah, this is,
I would be shocked as well.
That'd be absolutely mental if that wasn't the case.
It would. I totally agree. Maybe I'm being crazy because I'm not considering the experience we've had this gen, and that is always a consideration when you're going into the next gen. I mean, maybe it shouldn't be because we can see how quickly that stuff can flip. I mean, you just got to look at how popular the 360 was, and that did not carry over to the Xbox One, and it's similar how popular the PS2 was, and initially that didn't carry over to the PS3.
Yeah.
Where are you sitting at the moment, James? Because you're the most, because you're not tied socially to a console.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Well, I am. I mean, I'm tied to the Xbox One in terms of the people I play with, but the thing is I'm pretty certain that for the first couple of years at least of whatever next Microsoft console comes out, the games are probably going to work on like the One as well anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty certain they're going to do that. Like, it's not going to. I don't think there's going to be the next Halo game is going to be playable on what I've already got. So I'm not terribly bothered about like that because I only play it like once a week anyway. In terms of what comes out, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure honestly at the moment, because before I would have definitely have said like PlayStation, largely because of like Yakuza games and all that kind of thing. But now that stuff's coming to Game Pass as well, it seems. It makes it more difficult for me to choose because Game Pass does look good. And so I'm not sure at the moment, really not sure. It really depends on what... It really depends on whatever Sony are offering up in terms of exclusives and stuff, because if the exclusives that they show for like PS5 and stuff that are coming are as good as the stuff that's been on PS4, then I'd be really tempted because I've really loved the output this year.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's like you look at the studios that Sony have got behind them. Like, I mean, Naughty Dog alone is a big pull, and I'd be gutted to not play them. And what you're doing, the problem is, what you're doing is that you're ignoring the question. You're saying, we don't know enough yet, so I'm not going to commit. And what I'm saying, I'm not having a go at you. What I'm saying is that in the style, what the question's asking is not like you have to pick one and stick with it. It's not that. It's just snapshot in time right now. If someone goes to you, right, gun to your head, you've got to pick one based on what you know now. Which way are you going?
Again, really hard.
No, I know it is. That's the point. It'd be a bit shit if it was easy.
Honestly, it's really hard. But probably, going on what I've already... probably PlayStation? I'm not sure.
Is it mainly just because the studios?
Yeah, it's mainly because of that. Because I know that there's going to be like Persona games on it. I know that there's going to be like Yakuza games definitely on it, and also those exclusives as well. That's what interests me. Like, is that stuff? Because
that's fair.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's fair.
I mean, I would say arguably that I think hardware is going to matter the least. Like, they're both going to have SSDs. They're both going to say, loading is going to go down to 0. They're both going to be ultra fast. I found obviously like Xbox One X is more powerful, and so a lot of people think, maybe I want the best version of a game, and that might make people want to get the Xbox version over the PS4 Pro version at the moment potentially. But I think power is going to be arguable. Really, it's more about services and communication.
Yeah. When you've got both, it's an easy decision to make, isn't it? Well, I'll get it on the Xbox. It runs better on the Xbox, right? And it's it. But when you've only got one, right, then you know that deep down don't really make fucking difference, does it? When you're looking on the Digital Foundry comparison shots and you're like, there's a few.
There's 2 frames extra on the Xbox One.
Yeah, it's like it is fucking completely meaningless.
I do reckon it's going to be incredibly close this time round. Like compared with this generation, I reckon. Yeah, Microsoft and Sony will be very, very close to each other this time.
Do you think, right, that Microsoft are going to basically do whatever they can to guarantee they're the most powerful console? Because that's been messaging that they've lent on so much for the One X. The most powerful console, console. I think they'll pull out whatever it takes to ensure they are more powerful than PS5. At least have that as a message, and then obviously services and stuff go on top. And so it's not that's going to help them win.
I think that was a reaction. I think that was a reaction rather than a.
Yeah, but it's something I think they can lean on.
Did you see that? Yeah. I mean, did you see that story this week, Matt? With that, like where they said how there's like those PS5 dev kits have been like in the wild and people have seen what they've got and everything, and how Microsoft still haven't.
I saw the picture of them. Yeah,
and Microsoft still haven't finalised the specs of Scarlet yet. And they said, like today,
is that confirmed?
Yeah, that's confirmed. They still haven't. They're not confirmed at all. Right. And they said they want to surprise Sony. Like that's what was something that came out today. They said they wanted to like surprise them with like whatever the specs are going to be. So I'd be absolutely certain that whatever Microsoft come out with is probably going to be more powerful. Like even if it's only marginally so.
Yeah,
I think they're going to. I think they're going to want to be like. I think they'd rather be comparable and cheaper. I think that is the better stance to take for Microsoft. I think I think they're going to want the cheaper console.
I don't reckon they will. I think they're probably going to be like
that's always been a massive killer. Though
I think they'll have always more power at the same price.
Yeah.
I think when the new gen comes out, it always seems to be that the cheaper one does better.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Initially, the 360 was way cheaper than the PS3. And also, the PS4 was cheaper than the Xbox One.
PlayStation was cheaper than the Saturn, wasn't it, when it came out, obviously?
Well, yeah. I don't know.
And these consoles are climbing fast as well. Like, the rumours are the PS5 is going to be around $500.
I reckon they'll both be around that.
They will, but if they come out $50 cheaper, it means more than being slightly more powerful.
See,
I think if it's a case of $50, I think they'll be like most powerful and cheapest.
I don't think they're going to be over £400. Like, I really don't. And the reason is because, I mean, more recently, Sony have been like keep on saying that they want to convert as many people as quickly as possible to PS5, like over what they've already got. They're not going to do that if they're charging like over £500 or whatever for it.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope they learned a lesson, like the jump between PS2 to PS3.
I'm sure they have.
I think they probably got burnt big style.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to...
How much was the One X? Was that $399?
Yeah.
How much was the One X? I should know that really, because I got one.
Yeah, but that's different. That was an upgrade rather than a... That was seen as an upgrade and a pro version.
But I'm thinking, okay, but if you're saying, Kate, that was an upgrade, and that was like, okay, we should probably check. But was that $399?
I'll tell you what I want to know is how much... What was the Xbox One, like the original Xbox One, like launch price in the UK compared with PS4? Because it was more expensive, wasn't it?
It was like it was like £50 more. If I remember, it was £50 more expensive because people were saying, "Well, remove the Kinect and do it for 50
it was
cheaper."
It was £429 in the UK. It seems when it first came out. The Xbox One.
The Xbox One.
Let me have a look at...
How much was the PS3?
I'm just having a look at the PS4. Hang on.
No, PS4. So
it was like £349, I think.
So I mean, yeah.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So £75. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's where they screwed up, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, especially when it started to come out that it was like less powerful than the PS4 as well. That was like,
yeah, big time. Big time.
It's going to be interesting, but especially like which ones go launch first. I mean, this time next year we'll have them. They'll be out.
Maybe
it's crazy.
Yeah.
They will.
Right,
next
tweets. We go on to tweets. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter.com. Luke Summerhays, friend of Bears, at Buskalilly on Twitter. If you could leak the death of a head of state on the Discord, who would you want? This obviously is related to the big leak on something like that. The Queen was dead.
Why does everyone? Why? Well,
go on.
It's nuts now. It's happened so many times. Yeah, I expected better from Sean. I woke up this morning and Sean had tweeted us that WhatsApped us about this. Oh, have you heard? Looks like it might happen. And don't get me wrong, he did put his caveats in there that this
it was from somebody called
could all
Gibbo,
be bullshit. But
yeah, classic, and that's classic Gibbo. To be fair,
I wouldn't, honestly. I've always feel really uncomfortable about this. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. And I know it's not in the spirit of the question, but
it's also basically asking us which head of state do we want to have murdered or whatever. It's just like.
No, it's not that. It's leaked. So the idea is you absolutely 100% know that this person has died, and you know it. Who would you want to leak it? I mean, who would you want it to be that you can leak it? You know the questions.
What? No, I don't. What? Who do you want it to be for the leak it? What was that?
Oh God. Who?
No,
yeah.
So right. Okay. So the person's definitely dead.
Yeah, and you know it.
And I know it.
100% confirmed.
So what's the question?
If you could leak the death of a head of state on Discord, who would you want? That's the question.
Who would you want?
That's what I'm saying. It's like saying like, who do you fancy like being dead? It's just that you could then tell people is dead. It's a weird question.
No, but the question is basically like basically when
Matt, read the email out again. Let me try and
if you could leak
the death,
if you could leak the death of a head of state on the Discord, who would you want? Now, right,
that's an awful question.
I'm taking this as like when people say like, "Oh, where were you when you heard that Lady Di died?" and so on and so forth. I was actually having a shit at the time. And
paper round.
And so these are like moments where you never forget for the rest of your life. Where you were, where you heard about 9/11, heard about people dying and stuff. So you're going to be the person leaking this person. So you're going to be in these people's memories forever. So who, Dave?
No, but that has no relation to who it is.
Neil Buchanan.
He's not in gaming.
He's not a head of state.
He didn't say gaming. He is in my heart.
He didn't say gaming. It doesn't have to be a gaming.
I'll read it again.
It says death of a head of state. You've got to choose a head of state.
Oh, right. So why is he emailing this? This is such a weird question.
Please, can we just move on?
It's Prince Andrew, head of state.
Got Prince Andrew then. Fucking hell. Oh, sorry. This just doesn't feel right. Go on, next.
I'd like to end this by saying Epstein did not kill himself. Curtis at Luke HH.
What is going on? But
I don't know.
Is there an
Matt?
It's Luke HH. Is there an update on the following? Overcooked 2.
Yeah, when's that happening? What was that, James?
That wasn't me. That was Matt this time.
Was it really? When is that happening? Can we do that? I've been dying to do this.
Yes, we'll try and get in the diary.
Can we do it on a Sunday so that Matt doesn't have a breakdown on a stream again, and it gives him a little bit of light relief?
A lovely Sunday night stream with Overcooked 2. That'd be brilliant. That'd be so good.
It would be nice.
That would be nice.
You deserve a week off.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Let's try and get something in the calendar.
For sure.
D&D, and I, as someone who has
absolutely not. Never said I'd do it.
As someone who knows nothing about it, I would be up for whatever it is. It sounds like it would be fun.
No, thank you.
No, I mean, we need to get together, dress up. I mean, that sounds like it'd be right, wouldn't it?
Not happening, baby.
Oh no, I want you to be dressed up as a dragon or whatever's involved, Dave. I don't know, like
I'm up for
mage.
that. I just could you imagine that? Like you all sitting down in suits of armor and in like a wizard's costume, and then I'm walking in dressed as Yoshi.
Yeah. The next one is James streaming. Keep talking, nobody explodes with one of you fine chaps.
I'd love to do. Have you played that? You've played that, James, right?
We played it.
We played that at Matt's for
didn't we?
PSVR. Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah,
it's good fun.
And then James playing the Nonary games. What are the Nonary games? And I've seen I've seen Limmy stream them. Yeah, James used to do that. They sound right up your street.
Really? I've got it. I mean, I own it, but
FMV games.
Never got around to it.
FMV sort of murder mystery games, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
So the answer, Luke or Curtis, is that there actually is no update, but they're on the list.
Update.
Oodles Dim on Twitter. It's time for the big one. Which one game defines your character? You can't answer this yourself. It has to be decided by the others.
Okay, James.
What game defines James's character? His character.
Well, so what is his character?
That was my first question, yeah.
Always got the toe jam and Earl. I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
Was there ever
the thought of James in those shades and
was there ever like a one foot in the grave game?
There must be.
There should be. I do not. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Lazy.
I love that.
What was the type of the font game for James? That's what it should be.
The type of the font.
What was it called? What was it? Also, that was an extremely offensive accent that you put on there.
Oh, no, the way you said it,
what is the type? The font game? What?
Typewriter.
Typewriter for James. Matt. Right, come on, James. It's your turn to step up and have a pop back at Matt. What?
Just think about it.
Great pop, James.
Of course. It would be something like, so it's a game where you need spreadsheets, or at least like there's some monotonous number system
Valley in that case.
Destiny 2?
Stardew Valley or Tiny Tower, something like that.
I'm happy with Stardew Valley. It's a great game.
Okay.
Farming simulator.
Okay, David,
come on, give it to me, boys.
David, what game defines Gary's character? The Getaway?
Getaway sounds about right. Yeah, the Getaway. Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm proud
come on,
of that.
James, let's think. Right. Argumentative twat. Up his own arse.
Are we doing Sean now? Sean is a train simulator game.
Yeah,
straight and narrow,
straight
down the tracks. Sean would be the train game.
The train game. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Andy Godwin, that big cop man on Twitter. In the spirit of the Xmas movies, at the end of Back to the Future, as Matt Murray goes to kiss his girlfriend, Dr. Broomstick appears out of thin air, or Doc Broomstick appears out of thin air in a souped-up DeLorean. What catastrophic gaming event has he seen in the future that Matt needs to go back in time to save the day? What catastrophic gaming event have I seen?
This is a question for you, isn't it, James? Go on.
These are all good questions that require me to think about things, and it's too late in the day for these sorts of questions.
11.
Is this what you're like at the end of one of your lectures? The Q&A at the end of your lectures.
Too late.
Look, these are all good questions that require me to think.
It's 10:32 a.m. It's gone past 10:30. Forget it.
So what is it? Right. So what I didn't quite understand. You're just about to kiss your girlfriend.
Yeah,
and James turns up.
Appears up and suits up DeLorean.
I've got to get him to come back with me to stop something happening in the future.
Yeah,
that's
no. Wait, you going forward in time, but
we're going forward in time.
The gaming event, right? So the gaming event's going to happen in the future. So it's got to be something to do with Stadia.
Well, no, I'm thinking James has learned that Microsoft are going to announce Kinect 2.
We've got to stop it. We've got to stop it.
Yeah, we got to do everything
down. Just like...
yeah, no, that's quite a good one.
Tom at Rikaku Police. James.
Nintendo about to update their Nintendo Online app. Quick, you got to come back with it. Quick.
Tom at Rikaku Police on Twitter. James, what is there to do in Canterbury? Any fun recommendations?
Good
very
question.
little to do down here. There's a cathedral.
No, but does that have a cathedral?
It does, yeah. There's Canterbury Cathedral.
Oh, I walked in. It was rubbish. What the
is that the big thing? Is that the big thing in Canterbury?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. James, when I went down to visit him, he was like, "Oh, you got to see the cathedral." Stood in front of it. I was like, "James, this is shit," and he was like, "No, it's really good. Look at it's just look at it." That and that indie shop sounds great. If you Google indie shop and contact them. And say Dr. Boomstick visits.
I've been
Dr.
there for
Boomstick
a very long time.
Get some buns in him with Dr. Boomstick.
I want to get a blue plaque outside. That'd be great.
Dr. Boomstick was here.
Matt Spink at Egg Daddy. Question 1, is Matt going to stick with Sekiro? Is it beating him? No, I'm going to stick with it. Question 2, what gaming related stuff are you guys hoping that Santa brings you this year?
Oh man, I haven't asked for it, but I kind of want Call of Duty. I want to go back to that that feeling again of just in between Christmas and New Year playing a Call of Duty campaign. That's always really fun.
I want the Yakuza
I really want to play
collection.
that, but can't say happening now.
You want the what?
Yakuza remastered collection. It's too expensive at the moment for me to buy, but I want it.
No, right, okay.
Is that out already?
Although not all the games are out. It's like you buy it and then they get unlocked over the course of the year, which also annoys me.
Oh, that's cool. It's like an advent calendar of sorts.
Yeah.
I always like the idea of a Christmas present being something that you would never pay for. Like you'd never spend your money on it.
Stadia.
But like you quite like one. So like for me it would be like an Elite Pad, Xbox Elite Pad. That'd be cool. I was really disappointed that the Elite 2 pad came out, and I was just assuming that they were going to knock down the Elite 1 pad and you could get them for like 60, 70 quid or something, but they haven't done that. You just can't get hold of the Elite 1 pad.
No.
They've just,
you have to get them on eBay now, I reckon.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would have Black Friday
really
deal on them, but no.
Yep, nothing. And like an Apple Watch. That's like, I really want an Apple Watch, but there is no way I am spending that amount of money on an Apple Watch. It's ridiculous.
When you get a Huawei
Not gaming
watch,
related, but because you know what? Because I was looking into all that stuff. The Huawei watches, it seems like that it does barely anything that these smart watches can do. The only one that I was interested in was those. I don't know. No, I think. If I'm going to get one, it'd be an Apple Watch, but that means that I'm not going to get one. So it's kind of like a vicious circle. But yeah, I've been checking that O2 priority thing. Every now and then I like go, I have like a drawer for an Apple Watch, even though I've won fuck all on that thing. Do you remember when Twitter was not like massive and you could just enter all these competitions?
Actually, the other day I was looking at, I don't know, maybe some old pictures or something, and you know, me and you, Dave, were like, we used to like message or tweet the Foster's Twitter account all the time, didn't we?
All the time, yeah.
And then one day, like, their tone just like fully flips. Like, hey,
well, they obviously got a PR company to do it, like a proper PR company to do it.
Yeah, how's it going? If it was our best buddies, and then our friends went away, and then suddenly the Foster's Twitter account was different people.
Well, we got so much out of them. You got a Blu-ray player. Was that out of the Foster's?
I can't remember what I won. I won a couple of things.
I won the weekend away to watch a Premier League game with a HD camera.
I won an iPod Touch, which I sold, and I also won this massive art package, which I also sold. Thanks, Foster.
Yeah, before Twitter blew up properly in the mainstream, right? All the companies was trying to push it, so they put a load of competitions on there. But because it wasn't insanely popular, you You had a really good chance of winning. It was crazy.
There's like 7 people going for it. It was well easy in those days.
It's great.
Tom Durbin, if Matt is Mr. T-shirts, what item of clothing represents the other pod members? I'm thinking James is Mr. Chinos, Sean's a Mr. Socks, and Dave is a big old Mr. Pants.
Wait, okay, come on. How is it not Dave is a polo shirt? That is...
An iron.
Because everyone thinks of you as pants, not polo, so...
James is a cardigan.
Thanks.
Nothing wrong with a lovely cardigan.
Well, it's just... Yeah. Oh, he's Sean the
No,
cardigan.
James isn't a cardigan. James is more of a tank top man.
Yeah, he's a tank top man. Sean is probably slippers, I think. Slippers? I imagine he wears slippers. I mean, I wear slippers, but I imagine he wears slippers. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about slippers.
I'm more slippers than ages.
Slippers. Really?
Well,
slippers are great.
I basically go through them like 6 weeks and they've got holes in the front and I just haven't replaced the last pair.
Buy ones that fit you then, Matt.
No, I do, but I've tried every type with backs, without backs. But, you know, my toes are through as babies in 6 weeks or less.
Do you not cut your nails?
Of course I do.
What are you like? How are you putting your feet through fucking slippers?
It just happens.
Are you getting those little paper ones you get in hospitals? Is that what you're doing?
Or like hotels.
Yeah. The ones that you put
I've gone like M&S. I've gone to the best. But, no. Yeah, no, I haven't replaced them since then. It's quite annoying.
We've got to... I don't understand how you are going through slippers.
I mean, you and Jill are the same. Like, no one understands how I'm going through them so quickly.
You must be doing something.
Yeah, I mean, basically, my feet are mental.
Or something.
Well, anyone who...
He's got like elf feet.
Basically, like, after every Sunday night, my feet are fucking wrecked because... I mean, God knows what I'm doing with my toes during a stream. People have actually asked for like a second webcam under the desk to see what my crazy feet are doing when I'm in the middle of battle. When I'm in the middle of combat, my feet are doing
But to poke...
What?
Like, I get it with socks, because it happens a lot to me. I've got loads of holes in my socks because I'm not that good at playing in nails.
But I've never had holes in front of my socks. On the heel, sure, but never in the front.
So, Matt, this sounds even weirder. So you're saying that your toes continuously pierce through slippers, but your socks remain untouched?
Well, yeah, because my feet with the socks are...
I think that's physically impossible, Matt.
No, like my feet with the socks are like one item, and they both rip through the slipper. Anyway, I don't know how it works, and trust me, like people in my family have been trying to work out for years. I go through slippers
I mean,
like
if
hot
anyone's
dinners.
got any idea what the fuck Matt is going through,
honestly,
then please
like, ask Jill. It's mental. I've gone through so many pairs. It doesn't matter.
I don't need to ask Jill to find out that it's mental, Matt.
You should do that.
You telling me is enough.
Yeah, I know. At least I knew because I haven't had any for ages because I go through them so quickly. Anyway, if you answer that question.
That's like I was trying to cut some chicken on a chopping board the other day, but I sliced through the chopping board, but the chicken remains together. Like
in that case, the chicken would be the knife that goes through the board. The chicken is my feet.
What is going on? Can we just move on? 'Cause this is ridiculous. It's just a nonsense conversation.
I don't know what Matt's doing. The only explanation I've got in my head, James, is that Matt has confused slippers with socks.
No,
and socks with
not.
slippers. And he's actually, I put the slipper on and then I put my foot into the sock. Like, that's what the only explanation
I put my socks on, but I mean, maybe, I don't know what happens. I mean, I'm probably sliding my feet all over the shop.
Either that or you're wearing chainmail socks and you've got paper slippers. Like, that is the
regular, beautiful, pedicured, manicured, like toes. My feet are, perfect. Like,
I mean, you go through slippers, then you fucking psychopath.
I blame the slippers. The slippers aren't strong enough for all my feet movements, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Feet movements.
I can't handle it.
Troll feet.
That's the problem with my feet movements. Please call the episode that.
I'm calling it "The Chicken Is My Feet." Anyway, this is a good question. Unlike the rest of them, Daniel Moore, Mr. D.A. Moore on Twitter. Where will this year rank games-wise compared to the other years of this generation? I'm not convinced 2019 will be as good as 17 or 18.
It's not.
End of generation syndrome?
17 and 18 were much better.
Yeah.
It was better than the first year of this gen, though, right?
I don't even remember much, but yeah, like last couple of years have been fantastic. This year, I feel like there's been way more 7s, 8s, and 9s this year.
There's been a lot of games which are not fine,
but way less 10s.
Yeah, they're good. There's been a lot of good games, but nothing really, really amazing. I don't think. But
no, totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 games which I think are fantastic, but yeah, it hasn't been like other years, but there's been more sort of very, very good games. But yeah, I think it is an end of gen syndrome for sure. But I don't know what it's about next year, because obviously next year can be mad with like Final Fantasy, with the new Doom game, with Cyberpunk, with Animal Crossing, Last of Us, probably other games, Half-Life Alyx. Next year could be crazy. Let's hope it is.
Would not put Half-Life Alyx in that.
I would, because it's a Half-Life game, so I would.
God.
Callum Knowles, get on this baby. Mr. X and Ms. Fit on Twitter. Die Hard is an action film based on what?
This isn't better not be about Die Hard and Christmas.
Oh, let me finish and you'll find out. Die Hard is an action game based around the time of Christmas, making it many's favourite Christmas film. Are there any games aren't Christmas games, but you just enjoy playing them around holiday times with family or on your own?
I got to say,
Really?
I fucking hate it when people bring up Die Hard in the whole Christmas thing. I fucking hate it, and I'll tell you why. That's not the question, is it? Oh yeah, it's technically a Christmas film. Okay, fine, but that's not what people are asking. They're asking, what's your favourite film that is fully focused on Christmas, like is properly, clearly. It's just one of those ones where it's like, oh, gotcha with my answer. Like, makes you go, oh, okay, all right. The first few times it was made, that were quite a good point and quite funny. But then every year you hear it.
I mean, we've been doing this like 15, 20 years now. Like, oh, we get it. You're wedgie.
But what is the equivalent? What is the equivalent for gaming?
So, in that case, what games just set up Christmas but not on actual Christmas games?
Shenmue.
I mean...
Oh, shit. Shenmue? Yeah, Shenmue's an excellent example. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with Christmas, but...
It's still got a pretty solid Christmas section, hasn't it?
Well, that's my favourite Christmas game.
It's got Santa walking about, and Jingle Bells, like, plays. Yeah. Other than that, it doesn't really talk about Christmas at all, does it?
But it's nice.
Yeah, no, that's quite a good shout, James.
This isn't really answering the question, but I'll say it anyway. One of the games that reminds me of Christmas loads is the first Resident Evil, just because I had that on Saturn around Christmas, and I always think, oh, that's like a Christmassy. It just reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah, I guess I get that. I get that a little bit with Wave Race, because I got that on Christmas Day and played that loads on Christmas Day. The Game Boy Color. Whenever I even think about the Game Boy Color, it's like Christmas Day again, and I'm sitting in my bedroom playing Link's Awakening.
Yeah, and like the original Tomb Raider. Basically, the year I got a Saturn, I'm like, those games just implied in my memory now as Christmas games. But I don't have games where I go back to every Christmas. A lot of people do that. They do go back to like, oh, Christmas holiday, and I'm going to play that game again that I haven't played for a whole year. But I don't really do that.
Yeah, I don't really do that either. It's usually it used to be the latest Call of Duty game, but I sort of fell off of that repetition a while back. So yeah, how about you, James?
I don't really have anything like that I go back to. It's usually just whatever there's time to play. So yeah, whatever
I get for Christmas, that's what I tend to play. I haven't got a tradition like that.
But I've got loads to play this year, like Death Stranding, Outer Worlds, Luigi's, probably something else I've forgotten about. And I know actually what's asking happen is going to be like, what, is it 11 days? I can't remember. I basically only have a lot of time for one game, if that. But it's not bad, that, is it?
Cool.
That's it for tweets.
We are done for the week. I think we managed to bundle through without Sean.
Yeah, we've smashed it. Best show in
next
a long
week,
game.
It's the big one. It's the draft episode.
It's part one of the big two.
It's where it all kicks off. Matt, do you want to do your socials?
Yeah, so James, you're streaming Friday, you're not? Yeah,
yeah.
James is streaming this Friday, 9 PM. He's streaming the LA Noire VR case files. Is that what it's called?
It is, yeah.
How about I do some artwork for that? That's 9 PM this Friday at twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show. I'm streaming Sekiro Sunday night at 8:30, and Sean will be streaming Slay by the Bell next Tuesday. Dave, you may find time potentially to do a stream at some point, maybe?
Why? I streamed 3 times this week. What I'm saying is that I'm definitely going to find time, and it's probably going to be more than just once.
Awesome.
Sorry, I don't know what I set that off a little bit early. I didn't mean to actually press it then.
I thought that was Matt being sarcastic. I didn't think that
I would say, shit, I had that prepared, but my thumb slipped.
Trigger happy.
So I haven't made myself jump. I will definitely be streaming a number of times this week, I think, because I want to play way more Shenmue 3, but I've got to do it on stream, innit?
Lovely old job. We're on Twitch. If you've got Amazon Prime and it's been cheap over Black Friday, you also have Twitch Prime, and with that, you get 1 free subscription every month. And we really appreciate it if you go to our channel, give us that free sub. It really helps. So go over there. You can subscribe on mobile now as well, but it's a bit of a weird. It's best to do on desktop, basically. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS. When you subscribe to us on Patreon, you can get an exclusive monthly podcast where we talk about all sorts of mad shit, and you also get early access to our videos.
Special Christmas episode this week.
Oh yeah, this month, we're doing like Christmas stories, Christmas memories, Christmas all sorts. So looking forward to that, and we also get access to our computer game show Talks Over, TCGS Talks Over, videos a month early where we talk over old E3 conferences, old anything basically we can talk over. Ubisoft will be out now. We did Konami this month, so you can watch that now a month early if you subscribe to us on Patreon. And it's the computergameshow.com for everything else.
And we will catch you next week. Thank you so much for living it. Sean's back next week, fingers crossed. Otherwise the draft will be quite disappointing.
It'd be mad if he doesn't turn up next week, but he's here for the Game of the Year show. So.
Well, no, it could be worse if it's the other way round.
I don't know what we could do. If he doesn't,
we
can nominate his games for him.
That'd be great. Have a massive debate. It doesn't matter.
That'd be so good.
Sean's is out. So that's done. Round 2, that's Sean again. Round 3, that's Sean again.
We'll catch you next week. Take it easy. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Take it easy.